Search is over, now welcome to First Mint. Looking for NFT content, look no further cause this is it. From Top Shot to blockchain, they got the data chops, analysis, and pack drops, the shows equate a hot. LG and Phil D, the best amongst others. Best brothers to happen to ball since the Ball brothers. So settle in cause it's time for the best show. Ayo Quad, who we reppin'? First Mint. Let's go.
What's up?
Hey, what's up,
man? You know, we always talk about how Quad is mentioned in that intro song, and he was finally back on the show last week, which was great. But then, for anybody who didn't tune in, because I didn't post the audio in the feed like I said I would. We had our co-host competition last week, and the 3 finalists who made it to the final were Chamber Wrecked, who's going to be the co-host that you're going to hear from, David Goldberg, the CEO of Swoops, and Quad. And Quad got obliterated in the final.
Quad got obliterated, but here's how it played out.
Yeah.
So was it Chamber that got through the first round?
Yes.
Who
so
went
Chamber.
through?
So the first round we had a bye. So we had 7 contestants. The first round you got a bye to the final because there was a second round. There's 3 rounds. But the challenge in the first round, which I want to get your thoughts on this, Phil, because I don't think I told you what it was before. The challenge of the first round is everybody had 60 seconds to go find the First Mint tweet with the most likes on it. Like whoever could get the one with the most, likes would graduate to the final round. And Chamber found one with like 150 likes from a contest recently. So that was pretty good. What did you think, Phil? Was that a good contest? Like a good challenge for people?
Yeah, you only give them 30 seconds. I mean, it made it fair for everybody because you didn't have time to kind of load up any software or do any crazy searches.
Yeah. And nobody knew it was going to be that.
If you really wanted to win, you'd have to kind of already know which one of the First Mints posts in the past have really done well. And then you could do a quick search with the words and the First Mint, you would have found it easy. There's some have several thousand likes on them from the way
all you had to do
back.
All the cheat code was to go to Twitter Advanced Search and type in cool cats mentioned by the First Mint, and you would instantly get like 20 tweets with like 600 likes on each one. Because I actually looked back, Phil, and like back in the day, like 2 years ago or whatever, we would post things be like, we have received the video of the next cool cats moment. It's Steph Curry. And it would just be like, I don't know, Steph Curry doing like a layup.
People losing it.
And it'd be like 550 likes and like 100 comments. People going completely berserk. The golden days. The golden days, I tell you.
Can we be taken back to those days just for like a couple of days? I mean, I don't think we enjoyed them while they were happening as much as we should have.
No.
We had a great time, but things were moving so fast that And I'll never forget when the down spiral kind of started. It was hard to stop it, and then we were so focused on that. And do you sell or what do you do? What's happening? Is it ever going to come back? It's tough to look back on those things for me. So
and the other thing too, I think people forget, and now we're just going to turn it to talk about Top Shot, but it's like
not yet.
The boom happened in February and March 2021. And then April, May, and June, as the season ended, there was a dip, but there were still releases. We're doing Club Cold Brew. You could still land like a legendary pack in the queue and make like 10 grand. You know what I mean? It was like there was a dip from the high, but it wasn't like totally crushed. And then in August that year, Phil, people don't remember this. There was a bump. Like that's when all the NFTs went completely insane. Like Visa bought a CryptoPunk. Like Apes went to 50 ETH. Like things went insane in August 2021. And Top Shot had a resurgence. Like it had a really positive month in August. Like I even bought a few moments, for like a couple grand. And then when the season started, it kind of died. Because then when the season started, they were like, listen, you guys complained about how there were moments minted to 40,000 last season. Well, guess what? We're going to mint some to 60,000. And then it was just like, and then it just like, then the wheels fell off. And all of 2022 was like, 2022 went from like 75,000 buyers in January to like 6,000 in December. Like it just fucking died. So
we'll save those thoughts for a bit later, LG, because there's actually an update on active users from earlier today. It's actually fresh off the press, and we'll go over that in a bit.
Yeah. Okay, so wait, what did you think? So let's go back to co-hosting.
So
what
back
did you think
to
last week's competition? Yeah, what did you think last week's
competition? So the competition was fair. Like first round was totally fair. It's totally fair for one person to make it to the final because you still had to put a bit of work in the final. And I felt it was kind of a free-for-all in terms of anybody could win it. Now, what disappointed me the most, and this is not just for the first round, but probably the entire competition, is how pathetic some of the answers were, or sort of the competitiveness of certain people involved in the competition. Okay. I know not everybody watches every episode. I know not everybody listens to every episode. And I know that not everyone has ever maybe even listened to a single episode of the First Minute.
Definitely not. Yeah, you can definitely tell there's people who've never listened to the show ever.
But you did not 100% need to have listened, religiously to do well in this thing. And what got me the hardest was some of the people we thought would get some of these simple questions were so far off. An eye opener. So anyway, Chamber won the first round. Okay.
Chamber won the best.
He kind of came in really late with his answer. He was probably the last one you read, LG, I think.
I think so. No, I got his early. I just knew that he had.
Right.
I knew he had already.
You knew he had a high number. No,
because I looked at everybody's tweets and I saw that, because the other guys found tweets that had like 8 likes. Like literally, if you just go to Twitter and you scroll for 6 seconds, you'll find some that have at least like 40 likes. You know
Next
what I mean?
time we're doing minus points. When we see things like that, I have some minuses. That's ridiculous. To take the first tweet you see and use that one. I mean,
that's what we should have done. Is that if you can't find a tweet with at least 40 likes, you're kicked off the competition instantly. Like just that would have made a lot more sense.
Even better, if you don't know what TFM stands for, you should be kicked off the show.
So you guys
that's what we're doing next time. We're throwing.
So let's recap it because not everybody listened. So basically, first round was find the tweet with the most likes. Chamber got the pass to the last round by doing that. Second round was with the other 6 remaining contestants. Top 2 move on, and the competition was 10 trivia questions. And the format was that they had to write it down. They write down their answer. Like Phil would ask a question, they write down their answer, and within 5 seconds they have to hold it up. So there's no time to go look things up or cheat or anything. And one guy literally went 0 for 10 on the competition. Kai Boy, which bless his heart, I met him for real at UFC Vancouver. Like we actually hung out, but that was an absolute disgrace. You know what I mean?
I threatened to throw his ass out after 5 questions if he was 0 for 5. And I felt bad because I don't know if he was close. Some of his answers are so off. It felt like the first time he ever listens or watches or participates in.
But listen, when I met him in Vancouver, we were meeting up with all like the UFC strike people. And he came up to me and he was like, "Oh my God, are you LG?" And I was like, "Oh, this guy's like a hardcore fan." And then just had no idea any of the first minute questions in the trivia. But he competed. He tried his hardest.
He did.
And Phil, I have to say, Phil, as the trivia master, threw off the entire field of competitors with the first question, which was, and listeners, if you didn't listen to this, let's see if you can get it. When the first minute started in early 2021, what did TFM originally stand for? Which is a trick question because it stood for the first mint. It has never stood for anything else. But half the guys playing wrote the first moment, which isn't. It's because it was a trick question, Phil. They didn't expect it, but otherwise
it was. But like you can see, LG, some people got past the trick part of it and were able to still answer. And was it Kai Boy? Was that his name? Kai Boy, the one who went over 10. You have to remember too. It's not. You have to give him props because it's not for everybody to come on a live show like that and and perform under the pressure of every okay, only 30 40 viewers at the time, but it's still pressure. We felt it. I've done live shows before, not just for the first minute, where there'll be like 20 viewers and I'm feeling the pressure of course. I feel pressure being in this pre-recorded podcast with you, Phil. That's right. I feel pressure right now, and I don't even have to publish this. That's right. But I will say the chat we had, even though it was only like 20 or 30 viewers, the chat was active and the chat was kind of savage. You know what I mean? Like our chat, whenever we do a live stream, our chat, props to the chat. Like it's pretty savage. There's some pretty cutting comments in there, so it's not easy to go up against that crowd. It's a wild crowd. I love it. I wish I could follow the chat a lot more. That's why I love when you pop up the messages from what's going on in the chat. But then I knew you were busy, so I was looking at the chat. I'm like, LG's missing all these crazy messages that are going by. I'm like, chat's losing their shit right now. So round 2 was 10 trivia questions. 5 were the first mint based, and 5 were just the most random shit you could ever come up with. That I felt some were easy and some were trick questions. But to the credit of some of the competitors, if you know me and watching me over the years on this show and on the live shows, I do like trick questions and I like kind of things that are a little bit easy, but not that easy, right? Absolutely. Now, some of the answers, I wish I'd written them down because I don't remember all of them. But this was like next level pathetic, some of the stuff that we saw on this trivia show. And I feel like if we did a regular trivia or a regular game show, we would see more and more of that, right?
Yes.
Because people just either panic in the moment or they actually don't know. That's the best part is they don't know, right?
Yeah.
So it was pretty close. It was closer than I thought it would be because we awarded, 1 point per question for the first 9 questions?
Yeah. And the other thing I will say about the trivia is that they had 5 seconds to answer. So there's no like, it's not like trivia at a bar where, you know, you can have time to think about it, talk to other people about it. It's like you have to answer instantly. And it's like, if you ever watch Family Feud, you know, I always thought that the hardest thing to do at Family Feud would be the final round where it's like they pick 2 people from the family and one person goes and has to give their quick answers. And then the next person comes and also has to answer the same questions. But if they answer the same thing, it buzzes. Like they have to give another one. You know what I'm talking about? So that one, I feel like that's kind of what it's like, where it's like super nerve wracking and it's easy to answer the wrong thing. It's easy to like overthink it or say something too instinctual or both, you know? So anyways, props to everybody who came up. I thought it was super fun. You know, at the end of the day, Chamber won. And everyone here is going to listen to him over the next 2 weeks. Chat with you, Phil.
Woohoo! Congrats, Chamber. Big shout out to Mr. Goldberg as well. He was in the lead for the most part of that thing. Quad actually won the trivia, but Quad had quite an advantage in the sense that he knew all the TFM questions. Obviously, he's produced the show before. He's in the Discord, it's just totally allowed. I mean, that's props to him because Stone Cold. Let's be honest, our good friend Stone Cold. All right, I love you, buddy. But that was what your performance, Stone Cold, was easily one of the most disgraceful in First Mint contest history. Okay.
I like you're saying that right now because you know he's going to be listening to it.
I know he's going to be listening.
And when you said that sentence, you said it in a game show host voice. Like you said it like you're Jeb Probst. Like you went from casual tone to be like, Stone Cold, that was easily the
most
disgraceful, the most pathetic performance I have.
Get the hell off the island.
You are the weakest link.
Get the hell out of my house.
100% how you said it.
I love it. Like he was getting mad. That was the best part. Is he was like,
"Oh yeah,
what the hell are you talking about? No, what it was called the first moment. No, it wasn't."
Yeah, he was convinced.
Wait, you tricked us. You can't do that.
Yeah,
yes, I can.
That was the best part. Well, one of the other questions too, just so the listeners know, one of the middle questions was, what is the item that Walmart sells the most in Canada and the US? Which is bananas. But it's like that could have been anything. So
it could have.
Yeah,
and
great
only
questions.
One contestant got it right. So
100%. Maybe we'll plan something like that for the fall, like some kind of rolling trivia league where people have to participate in trivia. Because I think there's definitely an appetite for that. I think it'd be a lot of fun. To get more people involved in the trivia. So let's definitely chat about that some more offline, because I think those are always some of our best shows, and the times we have the most fun is when you are running trivia. So let's plan for it.
Okay. And if you missed that episode, it was last Thursday, and you can find it on YouTube. Right?
YouTube, okay. Yeah, go watch it on YouTube. It's only an hour long. I was very adamant that we keep it short and not like a 3-hour live stream. So it was good. It was chaotic. We had a lot of fun. We met some new people we hadn't really chatted with, and yeah, Chamber Wrecked from the DGen Network. And from the Mint Condition podcast will be on here next week. I have no idea what he's going to talk about. So
you actually forgot to mention how he won though, because part 3 was the 2 winners of the trivia, and then the first round bye, which was Chamber, and then LG asked. All right, we gave them a couple of minutes to go and get their communities or whatever they needed to do.
We said it was a YouTube poll. Like, because in YouTube you can set a poll. So we're like, all right, the community's gonna have to vote on this. And as soon as we said that, the viewers of the live viewers went from like 24 to like 56, because clearly both Goldberg from Swoop went and tagged the Swoop's Discord, and Chamber went and tagged like the DGen Network Discord, and all these people came out of nowhere to vote for them. And it was like neck and neck. They were both at like 40% of the vote for the longest time. Quad deep in the background getting crushed at 20%.
Poor Quad.
Nowhere Poor fucking Quad. Close. But Quad didn't go ping our Discord. He could have, but he didn't. So
to his credit,
to his credit, I don't think he wanted it.
I'll have to rewatch the tape because I'd like to see. They both look like they were just sitting there, but you could tell their fingers were active doing other stuff, and they both claimed they didn't really ping anybody. But they did, right?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
The amount of votes was higher than the amount of viewers for a long time.
The amount of votes was like 100, and we had like 20 viewers for the hour. Like, it was like all these strangers came out of nowhere. They're all suddenly the chat messages were like from people we've never heard of, all being like, "Let's go Chamber, let's go Goldberg," So that was pretty fun. And then as we called the vote in Chamber's favor, people and the Swoops people in there being like, wow,
They went
Goldberg
off,
got robbed, you know, just super pissed. So
yeah,
I thought that
unsubscribed
was-
from the channel and
yeah,
everything.
they were never
Okay.
subscribed. They were never subscribed. So let's be honest here. Hey Phil, I wanted to ask you. I mean, the draft. Let's talk NBA. The draft is pretty far in the background. Did you have? I wrote a little newsletter bit about Grady Dick going to the Raptors. Seems like he kind of stole like the draft in terms of what people wanted to talk about in terms of like memes or just like weird people, which always happens. Any other thoughts generally on the NBA draft last week?
No, it's actually one of the more boring drafts in all of pro sports.
It is.
Because
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
outside of the first couple of picks, nobody cares, right? If you look at the history of the NBA, after the 4th or 5th pick, there's a good chance those guys are not going to play in the NBA or are only going to be role players, with the exception, obviously, of every year. If you look at the past 10 drafts, you'll have one or two guys after the 10th pick that became all-stars.
Yeah, there's like a Jokic here
it's
and there,
super random.
but like even
Draymond, right?
Giannis was picked 13th or whatever, 12th.
That's right. That's right.
Or 15th or something.
Those are the outliers. Yeah.
Jokic was 41st. Even Embiid was picked 3rd, you know, in his draft. So it's not, you know, it's kind of a mess.
Yeah. So it was pretty. I mean, we were recording at the time, but I knew I wasn't missing much. For me, it's like the NFL draft actually matters right up until the late rounds, because a lot of these guys that are drafted, you need depth on an NFL roster, right?
Yeah.
In the NBA, you just don't know. You got guys dropping, you got guys you're not sure about. I always felt that the really good teams always have an advantage because they can take a chance on a player that has dropped in the draft that nobody else wants to take a chance with, trying to change their franchise. But they can take a chance on this player, and it always turns out that they somehow draft like these guys that turn into really good role players with the 28th, 29th, and 30th pick. Because imagine being a rookie that some people have kind of given up on, or that your stock fell in the draft, and you get picked late and you go to a championship winning team like the Golden State Warriors. Well, obviously you're going to be around the best type of atmosphere to develop your game and maybe play like a top 10 pick eventually, right? I always felt they have such a big advantage picking late because they're playing with house money.
Yeah, absolutely. Right? Jordan Poole was picked 28th.
But that's exactly it, right?
He was the 20th pick in the 2019 draft.
That's right.
And that's a good example.
Yep.
Kevin Looney, 30th.
Yep.
Like he was the last pick of the first round in the 2015. Harrison. Well, they picked Harrison.
The Warriors are who I'm looking at precisely for this. But
but Draymond was picked 35th. Right.
That's right.
Like
second round. Yeah, that's right.
Klay Thompson, 11th. Steph Curry, 7th. Like that's the only top 5 pick the Warriors have had, I mean, in recent history is James Wiseman. And he's kind of like not.
And he's of all the picks, he's the bust. I know exactly.
Yeah, he's the bust. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's like that's I mean, they had Kuminga pretty high, and Kuminga's like kind of good. Yeah, kind of still development a little bit. But Phil, here I had a trivia question for you, Phil. Who is the last first overall pick to win the MVP?
You mean the last guy picked, like the
last person? Because this year Embiid not picked first overall. Clearly, Jokic not picked first overall. Who was the last MVP winner? Who was the first overall pick when they were drafted?
No, because all the guys I know are not picked first. None of them were picked first.
It's more obvious than you think. I had to look it up, but it's a little bit more obvious than you think.
I'm just trying to think of all the guys that went number 1. I don't know. I actually don't know.
Think MVPs. Think backwards in MVPs. Like league MVPs.
I'm trying to, but I only have the recent guys in my head. Give me a hint. Guide me in the right direction here.
Any hint will be so obvious. It is. He's still one of the most popular players in the league. Let's put it that way.
Oh, LeBron.
Yes.
Shit, man. You know what? Why did I not even think of LeBron? That's crazy.
Yeah, but he's the only.
That's the last. That's crazy.
Yeah, because Steph was 7th.
Damn, that's right.
Who else has won since then? Like KD,
But that's why I couldn't think of one. Is because it's been such a long time.
Who else? Giannis, same thing, right? None of those guys. Derrick Rose, I think, was 2nd in his draft, behind. Who's the other guy in the Derrick Rose? Anyways, yeah, it's actually been a while since there's been. And I think LeBron's the only one for a while. So that's actually kind of interesting to think about it. Not that winning MVP not winning MVP makes you a bust as a first overall pick, right? There's only so many guys who can win. There's only one person who can win MVP every year, and there's going to be a first overall pick every year as well. So that's kind of hard. It's not that that's the expectation, but you think even in recent history, it's really doubtful that like Banchero is going to win an MVP one day, or Cade Cunningham, or any of those guys, right? Like it's like maybe,
but it's hard.
It's really hard
with all
to
the
win
superstars in this league. It's usually the same guys kind of passing it around, right?
Yeah, that's it, right? So but anyways, I thought that was kind of like an interesting tidbit. That's like, wow, it's only LeBron who's ever actually been able to do that.
That's
like
any
time recently.
Time ago. That's
right?
20 plus years. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. It's I mean, that was 10 years ago that he won. Would have been on my end.
No, in terms of being drafted. In terms of being drafted, I meant. Yeah,
exactly. So, anyways, so draft doesn't really mean anything anymore.
It was
right?
okay.
Because you have but you have recent MVPs who, I mean, Embiid was third in his draft, but the other guy like Giannis and Jokic, it's like they weren't, those were pretty deep down in the draft. Like any team could have had them almost, right?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it was more about the outfits and the memes and stuff. And I don't know what they would have done without Grady Dick, because he was the talk of the night before, during, and after with that, Dorothy or Wizard of Oz outfit tribute that he wore, that huge red sparkling suit. And I think he's the perfect fit in Toronto. Not that I think he's going to help the team win a championship, because the Raptors right now are as far as you can get from winning a championship or even competing for a championship. Again, without a superstar player in the NBA, you're not winning a championship. There's only ever been one team. It was like the 04 Pistons, whoever the hell it was. And there hasn't been one since. Right? Like that, there was no superstar on that team and they won. But that was and again, an outlier. It's not going to happen anytime soon. So,
no, I mean, that was a pretty unique situation, those Pistons.
Right.
Pistons
No, exactly.
Team. And it's not as realistic. You could also say that Pistons era was in like a bit of a depreciation of megastars, where it's like the Shaq, Kobe, Lakers had broken up, right? Or wasn't really as efficient.
It was a transition period.
There's no Jordan. LeBron just got drafted.
Right.
So you kind of had this, who was their after? I mean, obviously those are the generational stars. But even this recent generation stars weren't in the league yet, like, Dwayne Wade or any of those kind of guys. So like what were the top teams back then, right? Like who were the Pistons playing? Like the Pacers, right? Like Reggie Miller Pacers, like, I don't know. Right. So there weren't that many teams for them to get through. Not that they weren't good, props to the Pistons.
So he fits in here in terms of the fans in Toronto, as passionate as they are. They love players like that. Okay. And I don't want to get into the racing, but they love their kind of weird white players. We've had some in the past, like Matt Bonner was one that I remember. And because he rode transit instead of taking cars in Toronto, and because he was a redhead, they called him the Red Rocket here. He was a fan favorite. The Red Rocket is actually what they call the transit system here. The TTC is nicknamed the Red Rocket because the logo is red, I guess. And Matt Bonner, because he had red hair and because he is who he is, was called the Red Rocket. People loved it. So I could see Grady Dick already being a fan favorite. We know he is because the cameras are following him all over town. He's in town right now. He had his press conference today. He still acts like a complete goofball from college. Even though he's been drafted, he has not changed one little bit. Apparently, he's a viral sensation on TikTok too, which I don't have TikTok, so I didn't know this. And I don't really know what he does. But apparently,
is he good? Is he good?
I don't know. Oh, he's a good shooter. So the Raptors,
he's a good shooter, right? Like
very good shooter.
6'8"?
Terrible defense.
Defense. Perfect.
But defense, I feel, is something you can probably fix more than shooting at the NBA level. I mean, if you can't shoot, you can't shoot, and I don't see how that would improve that much, right?
No, defense is something you work on in in a scheme with a coach too, right?
That's
so
right.
it's like that'll take a couple years to develop.
But he's not a superstar unless he becomes a superstar out of nowhere. Yeah. But he's perfect for the fan base. Let's just put for me, this was a pick not just for the team, but I think it was as much for the fan base, knowing that the fans who are starting to get a little antsy and pissed off, and now you're hearing that Kawhi Leonard and Paul George are going to be broken up, and that whole thing's over with the Clippers after the whole. The anniversary just passed, LG, of the Raptors winning the championship 4 years ago now. And every year I get the same feels when I see the memories come up on Facebook, Instagram, and all that. And I go back and watch all my videos of the night we won and then the parade. And the feeling is like still the same. It's still an incredible feeling that I really believe we're probably not going to feel or experience again in our lifetime or for a very long time.
It is so hard to win.
But
so
some
freaking
cities
hard to
just win, like Boston and New York. I'm sorry, forget New York. Boston has been so lucky. If you look at the last 10 years, they've got professional championships. Like they're used to this. They do this for a living, right?
Yes.
For us, though, getting that one championship, it had been the first since 1992 in the city of Toronto. If you don't count MLS, which I don't, okay? I'm not going to an MLS parade. I'm not going to a CFL parade. I don't care about that stuff. Okay? Let's be honest here. We've had those.
Well, no, MLS, like, no, I think the right comparison of MLS to the other leagues is it, how far up is it in terms of pro leagues of that sport in the world, right? Like the NBA is the top sports league, pro league for basketball, right? The MLS is not the top pro league for soccer. It's not even freaking close, to being the top. It's not even the equivalent of like G League compared to like European.
Nobody outside of North America watches it. Put it that way.
No,
that might change now with Messi coming over, but
no, the MLS is like a nice place to take your kids for like a cheap ticket if you live in one of the super random freaking expansion cities the MLS has. Like that's like an alternate thing you can do in the summer, you know, or whatever that is. So, anyways, that's what I used to do when I lived in Montreal. Just go to the Montreal Impact games for like $10.
But you're not going to the parade when they win, is what I'm saying, right? Like for me, it's not something the whole city's lining up for them.
No, absolutely.
So for that reason, there is no parade. What they actually do when teams like the Toronto Argonauts of the CFL or Toronto FC of MLS win is they have like a rally at City Hall, and that's it. There's no, because if they did a parade, there wouldn't be anybody on the side of the road. There'd be a couple of people, and nobody's shutting down. Nobody's bothering with the downtown traffic or any of the nonsense that happens in the city just for one of those championships. So I feel the fact that we got to experience that the way we did, and it just passed the anniversary, is going to be special for a very, very long time. Because again, in hockey, we are nowhere near. We haven't even been to a finals in Toronto since 1967. Forget winning it. We haven't been to the finals. Okay.
This is
the
Raptors. We're back on Toronto suffer sports.
We have to. People have to understand our pain here. Okay. And the Raptors, again, without a superstar player, I don't care who's on your roster, you're nowhere near, unless LeBron. And here's the best part. We have never signed in our history a player that's gone on to become an all-star. Okay.
No, and that's the thing. But that's what I'm saying. Like you're comparing us to Boston, but the thing is like a lot of free agents don't want to sign in Toronto.
Nobody comes.
You know what I mean? Like we signed like George Springer to the Jays a couple years ago.
But that was a huge contract.
That was huge to get him to come here. You know what I mean?
Somehow.
And it hasn't.
Yeah, we don't know how.
We don't know how. You know, but there's a lot of like
scandal. That's why
when that happens, it's exactly. It's like shocking that a guy actually wants to come sign in Toronto. Like that's the thing is like Toronto has to prepare. The Raptors have to prepare for every offseason where they're not going to be candidates for the top free agents. You know what I mean? Like you just kind of have to prepare for that. Maybe the guys lower down the journeyman kind of guys who
Bradley Beal recently. I'm not going to Toronto. That was part of like what came out of
it's so random too, right? Like why not? Like it's like we're a team built to complement a superstar, so it doesn't really make any sense to not want to come here. But it's just something they don't want to do. So, anyways, it is what it is. The Raptors will beg and claw their way to prominence, or at least maybe to relevancy. But we were talking about this last week that it's like the Raptors are super irrelevant right now and not about to be irrelevant
for the near future.
Not about to be relevant
like that. Exactly.
Phil, who here's a hot question for you. That's the only question you can kind of think about in the NBA right now. Haven't been any trades since the draft or anything major. Who's going to win Rookie of the Year next year? Because you got Wembanyama, you've got maybe Scoot Henderson and Brandon Miller. Like, you don't know if they're going to be good. And then you also have Chet Holmgren, who at many times, even though he didn't play at all last year, kept saying that when he's in the NBA, he's going to be the best player in the NBA. So what do you have a pick? What's your prediction? Like, is it really easy? Yeah.
My prediction is that Chet Holmgren and Wemby will battle for the MVP, and they will be the two skinniest guys in history of the NBA to battle for the
MVP. No,
Rookie of the Year. I'm sorry.
That would be amazing if they battled for MVP.
No, forget MVP. They're not battling for MVP. Not with those other big dogs still in the league. It's just not going to happen. I meant for Rookie of the Year. If you look at the two men, and I saw Wemby again in his Spurs uniform. Did you see him that first little shoot around he did for the media?
Yeah,
he missed like 5 shots in a row. He's like, "Fuck this." He went for like a dunk or a layup. He's like, "I'm out of here."
Jet lagged. Give him a break, man. He's a little jet lagged. He's gonna have to get used to life in Texas. Very different than wherever Metropolitan 92 plays.
I think he's up for it though. He looked like he took the subway from wherever it was in New York to go to a Yankees game. Like he looked like he was down for like the chaos of the United States, right? So
he seems like he's ready to like be a star a little bit, right? He's already been dealing with that for like a year and a half, 2 years. So I feel like he's going to do well with that. But at the same time, man, like I don't know. I think we've talked about this, that it's like tall, skinny guys like that. Like it's not easy to have a long, healthy career.
That's
You
my
know what I
concern,
mean? Like
right?
that
Yep.
is tough. And you watch Wembanyama play, and it's like, yes, he can shoot, and he's massive, and he's gonna be able to dunk over top of people. Got the other centers in the NBA, they know that. And when they're lining up to play him, they're the only option in that case is to make it a rough game for him. Like that's the only way you stop a guy like that, is you make him scared to play
100%.
against you and you beat him up. So that's like I'm assuming that Wemby is going to get freaking fouled pretty freaking hard.
But he can handle it. I've seen some of his tape. He's got guys all over him all the time, but it's a different animal in the
They're
NBA.
not NBA guys, man.
Like, but look at Chet Holmgren, right? Like Chet looked fragile to me, and he got hurt in summer league last year. Now, is Wemby playing in summer league this year? I think he is, right? Because
no,
I looked up.
He wasn't.
Oh, he's not, because I looked. Well, here's my clue. I looked up the schedule of the summer league. And the Spurs are playing in the California Classic, which is not the Vegas League. It's a different one. And there's only like 6 or 7 or 8 teams in that thing. And they've got the prime time spot at 8 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. All the other games are like on ESPN2 or other channels. But the Spurs' first ever game in that thing is on ESPN at 8 p.m. Eastern, which leads me to believe, or led me to believe at the time, but now you're saying maybe otherwise, that he would be playing summer league. Or else why would they put them in that slot?
Okay, maybe he is then. I could swear I saw at some point that he wasn't, but maybe it was like a rumor.
I don't see why he wouldn't.
All I'm saying is that, like, and Chet, obviously they're both centers, right? Like Chet is also a center.
Oh yeah,
correct. Yeah,
I just think
they're going to need to,
like 7 footers.
But I just don't know how much of an impact they're going to have early on. Sure, maybe they'll shoot the lights out at 3, but it's like, listen, put them in a game, and they're tall, but like I can't see them down in the paint against like Embiid and like even someone like Bam, who's smaller but who's like so freaking strong. Like I don't know how those guys are going to deal with those, or like Miles Turner, like some of those just massive dudes in the NBA. That's gonna be some rough. I think if you're those other centers, like your job is to just make life really hard for those guys by banging them around. And it's like Wemby is so small. Like he looks like if you pushed him, like his arm would like break in half. So, anyways, we'll see how
I think he'll be okay. I do. I think he'll be fine against all those guys. And he's my pick for rookie of the year. I think it's not even gonna be close, but he has to stay healthy. That's the big problem here. Is if he's anything like Chet Holmgren, and I think Chet Holmgren's gonna have issues all his entire career, is I think these guys might be fragile. But you can't pick anyone else, because if you look at the history of the Spurs, David Robinson, right, and Tim Duncan were both number 1 picks. They both won MVP, and they both won the NBA championship. So there's a kind of a pattern here. And a lot of guys have actually come into the league kind of lanky the way Wemby is, and they've looked different as their careers progress. So we'll see. I hope he stays healthy, man. I do.
I'm going to throw it out there. I think Brandon Miller is going to win Rookie of the Year. Just the dark horse. I feel like he's going to be able to be healthy under the radar. He's got a lot of like clutch in him. Maybe lead the Hornets into the play-in or something like that. Like I feel like that, and not just because he's going to play well, but I think the other 2 guys are going to rotate some injuries. I would say that I think so too. Because the thing is that like if Wemby tweaks his knee in the 5th game, you are not putting him back out to keep playing the fucking season. Like you are having him sit down, and you've seen that with other top picks recently, like Zion. And I don't know if you want to get into the Zion drama.
No, I love the Zion drama. Man.
I know that's like the filthy
vibe.
Special.
I love that stuff.
The Zion stuff is great, but like that's an example of like, okay, well, anytime he's hurt, they're going to sit him out because they're still trying to protect the prospect. And it's taken like 5 seasons for them to be like, okay, maybe this won't work. So maybe he's a bust. So I think Wemby, like, or Chet, it's like at even the hint of some kind of like ankle tweak, knee tweak, or elbow problem, they're not playing. So I think you have to keep that in mind, and I think that's why guys like Scoot, Brandon Miller, the rest of those 2 brothers, like I think that they have a decent, not too far an outside chance at Rookie of the Year for those reasons.
Well, anybody does. If those guys get injured, anybody does. Now, the other prospect I wanted to kind of bring up, and I brought this up with somebody at work because they had no idea, but if you look up Amari Bailey, and I forgot who it is that took him, I'm like, I recognize the name, and I'm trying to think of where I recognize this name from. And he is the one that was Bronny Jr.'s or Bronny James's teammate at Sierra Canyon. And he's the one that Drake was caught by like drone footage with Amari Bailey's mom on a date in like an MLB stadium at night. Do you remember that? It was like secret drone footage of Drake having dinner with someone. And it was Amari Bailey's mom. So right away, my colleague who I was telling this to on this work computer with a huge screen is like, I'm going to look her up. I'm like, all right, well, be carefully look her up. You don't know what kind of pictures you're going to get. But anyways, I knew I recognized him, and it came to mind right away that there was a connection with Drake. And I'm just looking at the kid. I'm like, my God, having gone through all that already, you know, if that's how I remember him. But you never know. Guys like that, late round picks, and you know,
anything
you just don't know. One of my favorite things to do, LG, is to go back in every sport and look at the drafts from like the last 20 years.
Yes. Oh yeah.
And see which guys were kind of like picked in the later rounds and became random decent players. And then you have the undrafted guards and other position players that have become tremendous players. I mean, the NHL just released a list of guys that never got drafted at any level of hockey. And I was shocked. I'm like, wow, that's a huge list. And the NBA is the same. Look at Fred VanVleet, who's scheduled to land a huge deal right now, whether it be from the Raptors or somebody else. He was the trademark Raptors undrafted guard that became kind of a star player, sort of. For the lack of other star players, I guess.
Yeah.
And now they just picked another one in Marquise Noel from Kansas State. That was arguably the most impressive player in the NCAA tournament that we just watched when he put on that performance in the later rounds, right? So you never know. But the Raptors, when they announced that, I was like, here we go again, right? They're taking a big shot with the undrafted guys, and they usually do really well with these undrafted players and turning them into really good NBA players. The Raptors actually have some of the best development in the entire league, and they have for years, right? Because all those guys on that championship team with Kawhi had won a championship in the G League before. Like Pascal had played down there, and so had Fred VanVleet, and so had everybody else on that team. They had all been part of the Raptors 905, which is the G League team who won a title, and then they all graduated to the Raptors and won. So there's a real good development system with the Raptors, but I just, it doesn't change.
A really interesting draft. You want to look back on a good draft is the 2009 NBA draft. Blake Griffin draft. First overall.
Oh man.
Third overall, James Harden. Ricky Rubio at 5th. Steph Curry at 7th. DeMar DeRozan at 9th. Brandon Jennings, if you remember him, at 10th. Tyler Hansbrough, Psycho T at 13th. Which I loved. Also briefly on the Raptors, Drew Holiday, 17th, Jeff Teague, 19th. Who else you got in here? Damari Carroll, 27th. And then there's one, Patty Mills. Patty Mills was 55th. Like he was the 6th last pick in the draft. And now like one of the only guys who's played every season since. Danny Green also in that draft at 46. Who was the number 2 pick behind Blake Griffin, Phil? Do you remember? Can you name it?
I'm not good with drafts, man, because I
played 5 seasons in Memphis. That's it.
I get confused all the time with my drafts, and I can't figure it out.
So it was Hashim Thabit.
Oh, Thabit, yeah, from UConn. Yeah. Oh my God.
Somebody that honestly most people listening to the show, even me, like I don't really know who that is. Honestly, he's so long ago.
He was really good in college, really good. But that's another guy that injuries kind of just took over, and he was super lanky from what I remember. And you know what? Not everybody pans out. He's not the first. Please find me the draft where what's that freaking Canadian guy's name, man? The biggest bust of all time as a number 1 pick.
Anthony Bennett.
Anthony Bennett draft.
That was the year. That was 2 years in a row that the number one draft pick was a Canadian guy, right? Because it was Andrew Wiggins and then Anthony Bennett.
Please pull
up. They were both drafted by the Cavs. They were both drafted by the Cavaliers.
That is the most horrific draft of all time in history. It has to be. That entire first round is garbage.
Well,
so I saw it the other day. Someone was talking about bad drafts, and that one was like
okay, So compare that to 2009. So here that's the 2013 NBA draft. Anthony Bennett first overall, Victor Oladipo second. That's not awful.
Decent, but who's Victor Oladipo?
Well, what do you consider a decent player? I consider a decent player like somebody who has been a starter consistently for a team they played on.
But a lottery pick,
5 or 6
I expect to be a star player, someone who makes the
All-Star but sometimes some drafts just suck. Like there are no star players.
That was one of them
in this draft. Like there's in 2013 draft. Okay, the only guy is Giannis. Giannis is the only guy in this draft who's like decent. Right. Okay, there's Gobert. Yeah. Gobert went at 27th.
Screw Gobert, man. He started COVID.
You know who the 4th overall pick that year was? Cody Zeller.
Yeah, that's why I was laughing.
And Cody Zeller got some minutes in the finals this year. Dude, all right, so I don't laugh it up.
He also has one of the biggest online digital collectible collectors in the world collecting his NFTs. So I guess that's an accomplishment in itself.
Another Canadian in this draft, 2013, Kelly Olynyk.
Hey, I like Kelly Olynyk. I think he's super solid, man. I know he's not a star player, but I really like. And Kelly Olynyk will play a huge part in Canada's World Cup team in August. So we got to support him.
Yeah, there's only one player in the second round of that draft who's played more than 10 seasons or 10 seasons or more. Mike Muscala. That's it.
Oh, he just got traded, I think, from Boston. I think he was part of a deal recently.
Yeah. So he's the only guy in the second round who's played every season since then. Every other guy, there's no one even with 9. The closest one is 8 seasons. It's James Ennis the third, and that's it. Yeah, so it's pretty big. Although CJ McCollum also part of that 2013 draft at 10th. So not a couple decent guys, but not really. How many all-stars? Like Gobert is kind of like a fake all-star anyways. So outside of Giannis, very, very. Oh, Dennis Schroeder also in this draft. Who cares? But what I was going to say about what I was going to say.
Yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead. Mine is a completely different point.
Okay, the last thing I'll say about the draft. Let's talk about something else after. But the 2009 draft, what I was saying about the Blake Griffin draft is that what's interesting is that if you compare the big names in this draft and you compare their career trajectories and what they've meant to different teams over time, Blake Griffin, James Harden, Steph Curry, and DeMar DeRozan, all top 10 picks of that draft, all stars, but all like significantly different careers as prominent NBA players. Curry and Harden still quite relevant as players, obviously, but it's just interesting. You think about like Blake Griffin, first couple of years was like, man, like that was like one of the superstars of the league on those years with CP3 on the Clippers, right? Like, man, but now Blake Griffin, like
crazy,
was on the bench for
barely comes off the bench
for Boston or something. I don't even know where he was, so
it's a cheerleader.
Yeah. Anyway, it's a cheerleader. Yeah, exactly. So anyways, go on. What were you going to say?
I was just going to say, it just hit me now that even the Raptors, to be honest with you, because they're always in that middle spot of being kind of a borderline playoff team or an early round exit playoff team, we rarely get lottery picks in Toronto. And when we do, we tend to kind of mess them up. Like Andrea Bargnani was a complete
that's our only first overall pick ever. And I think who got picked after Andrea Bargnani? Do you know?
I don't know. Oh, it was oh my God.
Do you know who?
No, I know it's someone that I think it was someone I regretted that we didn't pick for a long time. Who was it?
Our chat. There's no chat right now. It was LaMarcus Aldridge.
Okay.
Who's still kind of in the league. Not really.
No,
I think he retired actually.
He had back issues.
And third was Adam Morrison. So we didn't really.
Everyone wanted Adam Morrison that year. I remember.
But the first couple years, Phil, everybody was hot on Brandon Roy because he was 6th overall that year, and he was good. But then he had to retire early. I think he had a lot of health problems. The guy who played the most. There's 2 players in the 2006 draft, the Andrea Bargnani draft, who have played 17 seasons, that have played every season since then. Can you name them, Phil? Probably not.
Absolutely not.
They are Rudy Gay and Kyle Lowry.
Rudy Gay, who just got traded right now, a couple minutes before we came on the air. And
really?
I tweeted Woj. I'm like, I didn't even know he was still in the league to be traded. Okay?
He also played for the Raptors briefly, very briefly.
He did. But apparently he's still in the league, and he picked up his player option of like $13.5 million for this upcoming season. And I'm like, Rudy Gay, who I didn't even know plays in this league, it will be making more money than every single NHL player.
Who gave him that contract? Who gave him that contract?
I don't know. He was traded from Atlanta from U. I don't know who he played for anymore, to be honest. I think he came from Utah because John Collins just got traded to Utah. And I think Rudy Gay was part of the package coming the other way. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But hey, watch out for Utah. They were a team that was supposed to finish in the lottery last year. Because they got rid of Donovan Mitchell. They ended up being way better, probably the surprise team of the year because of Walker Kessler.
And Lauri Markkanen.
The first mint guest, Walker Kessler.
Yes, from the past.
From the past, who I don't think I've ever heard someone so happy to be on our show, man. That guy could have stayed on for hours. Right? Like we were on Spaces with the guy, and he was telling us like life stories, man.
Oh, yeah, that was good. That was before he got drafted. That was before the draft. That was last May. That was
right before the draft.
Yeah,
you're right. That's why
I saw them play. I saw him play. I went to 2 NBA games this year. One was in Portland, Raptors and Blazers with kind of like a Jurassic Park crew, and the other was in San Francisco just after Christmas with my brother-in-law, or like my wife's brother-in-law. So anyways, we're two guys who married two sisters, to put it that way. So
Yes.
anyway, so we went to the Warriors Jazz game. And yeah, I was really impressed. And that was like Steph and Clay were sitting that game, which fucking sucked. But
I remember that.
I think Steph was injured, and that morning they announced that Clay wasn't playing, so it sucked. But I was really impressed with Kessler and with Lauri Markkanen. Like Markkanen was pretty freaking good, man. Like it was good to see him in person. And I thought Jordan Poole played incredibly well too. They won.
Well, think about that. Again, John Collins now going to play with Lauri Markkanen and Walker Kessler and the plethora of guys they have there. I mean, it's a decent roster. They were impressive last year, I thought. So I love what's happening.
They'll still need to start to do anything.
This is the best time.
Yeah.
Oh, no, they do. This is the best time in the NBA. I mean, I know we say that maybe 3 or 4 times a year, but what's going on right now is the domino effect is going to start hitting. I believe guys can start officially signing. It's coming up. There's some kind of deadline coming up. I think July 6th is when the trades can go through and guys can start signing. We have not, I keep saying it every week, and I'm going to keep saying it. We have not heard from LeBron or the Lakers now in 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks. I don't know what the hell is going on over there, but this is the first offseason in history of LeBron's career where you don't hear a word from the guy. So I don't know what he's cooking up. He's probably on a world tour of like trying to find players that'll come play for the Lakers that they can add, secret world tour, because you can't tamper and do things like that. But he's
well, you can't. But if you're hanging out on a beach in Cuba or something like that with another player, that's not tampering because there's no evidence. But you can definitely be having cigars with them. Yeah, exactly. On the banana. Listen, you don't understand, Phil. My dream is to be on a banana boat. Like that's like, I don't know. When I think about like what are fun things to do in the summer, like with family and friends, the main thing I think about that I want to do is for somebody to have a speedboat and to pull us on a giant freaking tube or a banana boat and people to get fucking launched in the air. Like that's the main, like all, I live on the West Coast. Everybody's doing all this, like all these other water adventures, all these climbing mountains, canoe trips like I did, like all this other, fucking hippie granola shit that people do out here. The main thing that like ayahuasca ceremonies, like that kind of crap. The main thing that I want to do is get on a banana boat with you and your kids and like other friends and family and just do it over and over like all day and get freaking launched 20 feet in the air. Like that's my main.
I'd be down
activity.
for that.
The only thing I want.
I'd love to see a first mint banana boat and see who the lucky 5 members would be. Actually, it would only be 3 because the 2 of us would be on there.
That's next First Mint Fest. Is we're going
who would be the 3 that earn a spot on that exclusive banana boat? I would think the guys who rode the Worm with you would have some kind of advantage. In terms of if they know how to ride these things. But you know what? I'll tell you something about water devices like that, LG. I actually have a crazy phobia of things that are pulled by boats, because about 6 or 7 years ago, you know those round like saucer ones that you put like 5 or 6 people in them. There's a backrest.
I've got a nightmare to show you. Yeah.
And you get pulled by a speedboat. I went on one of those and the boat was, I mean, obviously the whole idea is to like launch people off of it at the end. But what people underestimate is how much you can get hurt when you hit the water at a certain speed.
Wow.
Because when you're hitting the water, you're either going to go in not smoothly, but it's either just going to hit you like water up the nose and things like that. But if you cartwheel on the water, it's not what it looks like in the videos. Like it hurts, man. It's like hitting a wall. And I was playing high level men's soccer at the time. Indoor and outdoor and all that. And I went for a summer party where we were taken out on a boat. And the guy who was running the boat thought it was hilarious to flip us at full speed. When he saw it was me, obviously with my personality, he's like, all right, I'm going to murder this guy now. So he threw us off. And I felt it in my knee right away when I hit the water. And I was out for like 6 or 7 months with a knee injury. I couldn't walk properly for 6 or 7. It was really bad. So I have this phobia now of being pulled on the water. And I'm always like, I swear to God, I'm coming on this thing. You better not throw me off. Like, take me for a crazy ride. Do not flip this thing because I don't want to get hurt again.
Wow. Phil, you sound like mom, honestly. Come on, man.
I don't want to get hurt, man.
Have some fun.
I take
have
some sports. That's not
live
fun.
your life.
That's not fun to me. Getting hurt.
Okay, how about this? I just found this morning. I posted on Instagram. What about this thing? It's a roulette inner tube that spins in the air. So let's just watch it. Look at this. There was like 6 people. It's last person hanging on wins. And look, then it bounces and people get freaking tossed.
I'm telling you, get hurt.
Phil, but look at how many people are on the boat. Why are there like 30 people on this speedboat watching this? How's that even possible?
Because they enjoy watching people get hurt. That's why.
I gotta post this. I gotta make sure we get a link to this in the description. So that's well, Phil. What is your quintessential summer activity? Like, what is the thing that you're like, okay, summer started, kids are out of school now. You have the whole summer ahead of you, barbecues, get-togethers, fireworks. What is the one thing that you're like, when you think of summer and you're like, I'm going to enjoy my summer, what's the thing that you need? What is the one thing you need?
I need there to be sports, no matter what. I can't.
No, something you're doing, not watching. So, no. You can't say
not watching. I love attending sports in the summer. Like I love going to soccer games, baseball games. I do have to say I don't go downtown too often anymore. I don't live downtown. I mean, we were born and raised in Midtown Toronto, but we've always been downtown people, and we've always enjoyed downtown. I have to say, as much as I have hate for the city right now, I really do despise what Toronto's become in terms of the traffic and the people. Like it's overpopulated. It's not enjoyable to get around the city ever now. It's just disgusting. Okay. Yeah. And we do have our mayoral elections today, which I find fascinating, and I do want to bring something up a bit later about that.
I'm sure the people out there want to hear the story of why there's a municipal election in Toronto. I'm sure they want.
It's your usual. Yeah. Come on. What do you think of Toronto?
It's similar to the Zion story. They're in the same atmosphere in the same region.
That's right.
Stories. Yeah.
So I was downtown the other night, and then it just hit me how much I love being downtown on a nice summer night. Mm-hmm. There's nothing like it in the city of Toronto. The vibes of people. It was a little wild the last few days because they had the Pride activities here, so it was like it was insane. Like the amount of people in the city was crazy.
Even before Pride was like a huge thing, man, like 25 years ago, I remember like Pride in Toronto was like berserk. It was always like shut down Yonge Street, massive parade. So it's like, I can imagine now it's even crazier. It's always been nuts in Toronto. So
yeah. And there's something every week here, so it doesn't matter. But,
there's always a new festival or something. Yeah.
I think just general things for me, like anything outdoors, we have such long winters here that, you're literally indoors for 7 or 8 months a year, right? In terms of being able to do stuff. So I do enjoy the outdoors. For me, it's just simple stuff, man. Going around, going for on patios, things like that. I mean, I'm not complicated like that. I don't know. I don't have any specific activities I like to do. I just like to be out and about and smell the fresh air and try and get things done. One thing I've really, really, really want to do one time is like one of those
canoe trips with your brother.
I don't know if I could do that. I don't know if I'm down for that. I don't know.
Come
the
on.
Stories you told me, I don't know, maybe. But I want to do one of those Spartan races one time. I really do.
Yeah. We should do
That's
that
like my dream. And when I run and when I go for hikes and all that, which is not my vibe at all or never has been, it's kind of what I have in the back of my mind is I'm training just to finally do one of these Spartan races. Yeah, where you see like the 40 obstacles on the course and like the fire being shot everywhere and people like dying down the hill and rolling through the mud.
People I love shot. That shit, man. Nobody gets shot during a Spartan.
No, not shot. There's fire shooting in the air at these Spartan races. Like when you cross a finish line.
Hold on. Okay. Well, let's see. I think you know what? I think it's a great idea. I think we should get the day one together and we should all go do a Spartan.
You can run as a group. They offer group and compete against other people where if all 20 of you don't cross the finish line, you don't get to stop your time. So
Canadian events, Spartan. Okay, how do you find?
It doesn't have to be Canadian. You can look up U.S.
I guess we can go. Yeah, we can go. Okay, Spartan race schedule. Because there's different. There's also when you go do a Spartan race. There's also Tough Mudder. If anybody ever done Tough.
Yeah, but that's like to me. That's more people who like to roll in when I see the people doing that, it's people that like to brag that they rolled in mud all day. Okay, I know it's tough. it doesn't require training. It doesn't require that
definitely
much
way harder.
I don't think.
Okay, let's see.
I want to do a Spartan.
Let's see. There's some in July, Utah. Maybe something we can plan for 2024. There's definitely going to be one out here. Okay, there's one in Seattle in September.
Oh, I like that.
That looks pretty hard.
We need videos, LG. Show us something here.
What do you want to
understand what the Spartan race is like?
Okay,
show me the people like
people
falling down the wall.
You think people don't know what a Spartan race is?
I think some people have no idea what a Spartan race is.
Okay, let's go look up. What do you want me to
look up? I know Tough Mudder is tough.
Spartan race.
Why
Spartan
insane?
Race fire shooting. Here we go. Let's look that up. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Fire jump. Spartan Race, Kentucky. Well, let me get this going.
Kentucky. I've always wanted to go on the challenge on MTV, and that kind of reminds me of it. Only with the social aspect.
Oh, hold on. Wait, I gotta do it with the noise. So we need the audio so you can listen to it. Here we go. Spartan Race. Boom. All right. All right, people are dragging logs. Fire jump, Spartan Race. This guy's running. He's gonna jump over fire now.
That guy just smoked him. Holy.
Whoa!
Yeah,
He jumped
that's
over the fire.
exactly what I want. That's exactly
What, Phil?
what I
This
want.
is okay.
Yeah, that's
just to
pathetic.
describe
That
it for
version
people,
right there.
it's literally like like a row of two logs wide, like a log you'd burn a fire for, and then they're surrounded by rocks, and people just have to hop over it. Like, and it's literally like 6 inches tall. Whoa, that guy barely made it.
He barely went over it. That thing's not even on in that video. Like, that's
Wow,
ridiculous.
Phil. Yeah, Phil is gonna be a dangerous.
I don't know. That's my dream, is to compete in one of those. And I would even, actually, not even individually. I don't care about it. I'd love to do it as a group. I love competitive things. I want a leaderboard, and I want to be able to lead people into battle and like I picture myself dragging people over the wall, you know, like the ones who can't climb that last wall with that big rope there. I want to lean over the wall and be like, come here, and like throw them over the wall.
That's
I think we have to do
all right.
it.
So Phil's dream is some kind of deep team building exercise. Like, that's what Phil desperately craves deep on the inside. So that's what we're gonna do, guys. 2024, the first mint right now is committing. We're doing a Spartan Race. We'll see if Spartan Race wants to sponsor the show, and then we'll go tour and do
Anywhere but
commentary or
Kentucky,
something
though. I don't know what the hell that was. We just watched. But.
You know, for sure, when you do those things, you have to sign all these waivers that are like, if you die, it's not their fault and shit. Right?
Every
Like,
single one of those things.
100%. Yeah, exactly. You can't do anything.
Same with the skydiving, that indoor skydiving, all that shit. Like, if it goes wrong, it's all
have you ever thought about doing the Toronto, what's the thing where you walk on top of the CN Tower? Skywalk or whatever it is?
I have,
Brave
but
the
I have
edge.
I
Yeah,
have
here
a
we go.
thing where I kind of like, as much as I like adventure and as wild as I can be, I would
This
never
looks kinda
do.
nuts.
Here's what I would never do. I would never bungee jump, no matter what. Okay. I would never skydive. And I don't know. Have you been skydiving? I think you have.
I did skydive once
you
for a
did.
bachelor
Okay.
party. Yeah,
That's
we
right.
surprised a guy. We brought him to the airfield, and he went. And he
That
went
is
we brought
completely
him
insane.
skydiving.
I would never do
Well, I mean,
anything like that.
hold on. Let me say something about skydiving. When you're first time skydiving, you go with like a guy, right? Like you are strapped, like you're strapped like a freaking baby to the front of somebody's suit. And the guy is, and then you're nervous, but the person you're going with literally tells you, they're like, I have done over 10,000 jumps. And you're like, okay, well, like, this guy knows what he's doing. You know what I mean? Like, it's a little bit more like, there's when you go skydiving, like, there's literally nothing for you to do. Like, they teach you the motions and shit, but honestly, as soon as you jump out of the plane, you completely forget it. And the guy that you're strapped to, like, moves your arms into the position once you're in the air. And so it's like, it's terrifying. Probably the worst part of skydiving, like all these things, is when you're in the plane on the way up and you're just like, you have to like pee because you're nervous, and you're like shitting your pants because you're just like, I can't believe I actually have to do this now. But you don't really do anything. So I would say that, like, I would say something like bungee jumping to me is way scarier and sketchier than skydiving. Like, skydiving is like there's a whole society, there's a whole like sport to it, everything. There's occasional accident, but there's like that for everything. Bungee jumping to me is like way sketchier. Like, it's way more probability for error. So I'm just gonna throw that out there.
Those are the three things before you show the video. 3 things I won't do. There's no bungee jumping, and it's not a fear of heights at all. It's fear of something bad happening. Okay. Yeah, I've been asked a million times, and I've had this conversation. I know it's still really soon, but the whole Titanic thing there, that vessel. And for me, I would have never. I know in hindsight, it's easy to say that, and everyone's going to tell you I would have never gone on that thing. Yeah. But true adventurers would have gone on that thing in a heartbeat. Yeah. They're lying if they say they wouldn't. They just know what happened, so they say no now. But for me, as soon as you would have told me that the thing is bolted from the outside and there's absolutely no evacuation plan if something happens, zero chance I'm going on that thing. Just because I would love to go see the Titanic. I think that's one of the coolest things ever to witness that with your own eyes, even though some people are like stupid. But for me, when there's a risk like that, it's kind of like no. So 3 things for me is bungee jumping, skydiving, and you're going to be surprised by the last one because I don't know if I've ever told you this, but I've been adamant about this for years. It is riding in a helicopter. That's my number one. I know you've done it. I will never go in a helicopter in my life because I feel that 90% of helicopters crash and everybody dies.
That's
every day you hear about these. If the military and the police helicopters can crash regularly, I feel like every helicopter can. Then you have the Kobe thing. Then you have the owner of Leicester City in the Premier League who died in a helicopter leaving the stadium after a game. for me, and I know you just went in a helicopter, so maybe it's good I tell you this now. But for me, you will never, ever catch me in a helicopter because I feel like you almost have a 50-50 chance of dying every single time. That's how I feel. I don't know.
I don't think it's
I hear
50,
about it all the time.
I think
not.
It's still pretty
Statistically,
small.
it's not.
Helicopters are kind of nuts when you think about what they are. Like a plane is very different because a plane, the way it uses the lift and it propels itself kind of thing makes more sense. A helicopter, like when you're in a plane and you're flying in a plane, you don't really feel like anything's happening to you, right? Like you feel kind of like whoop, and you take off and you're like, whoa, we're off the ground a little bit. But otherwise, once you're in the plane, like you don't feel
it's seamless for the most
you're
part.
you're in an airtight chamber where it's like even you don't really notice like the gravity change, or there's no gravity change other than when the plane like drops altitude suddenly, which is terrifying. But helicopter, it's like a helicopter, you're just floating. Like there's no push, there's no lift. Like you're just there. And yeah, I was in a helicopter less than a year ago for my wedding. So we eloped, for people I don't know, and we took a helicopter up to a glacier and got married there, which was awesome. And at the same time, I was like, this would be an insane way to die, is on the way to get married. The helicopter smashes into a fucking rock. It was a little scary, but I don't know if they're that dangerous, but that's fair. That's fair.
I've always wanted to do Mount Everest. And then I watched that documentary. I talked about it last week. I watched it on Netflix. And not only is like your chance of like dying just for nothing.
Well, now
very high.
Yeah, everybody goes there. Yeah.
Like just illness. For me, that's so scary. It's like, okay, if you fall, the falling risk will always be there. But to die of like illness, random illness that nobody knows about, no, that could be me. I'm not playing Russian roulette here. And then to know that most people need to get a helicopter to come off the mountain anyways when they're done, hell no, that crossed it off my list forever.
Wow.
And then they're like, you also need like minimum 60 grand. I'm like, okay, forget that. Like, what the hell?
I mean, that's cheaper than the Titanic. The Titanic thing was $250,000.
250 grand to go.
$250,000 to go.
I still can't believe
so this is a good debate. This is a good debate that I had last week, where it was like, okay, if you are a billionaire, why would you do things that are super unsafe? Like, you know what I mean? Like if I suddenly, like, let's say tomorrow, good case scenario, we sell First Mint for like $10 billion. Great. I don't have to work anymore. Let's just say that happens. And I'm like, I can now go buy, a yacht and a couple big houses all over the world and spend my life traveling, or, fucking learn an instrument, whatever the fuck you would do if you just suddenly had tons of money, take care of your family. I would like also use that money to hire like a security team and experts and lawyers to follow me around to make sure I don't do things that'll kill me. You know what I mean? Like that I don't die suddenly at like a youngish age. There's some of these billionaires that are like fit in their 50s or something. It's like, no, like you're a billionaire. Like you have years left to enjoy your billionness, right? And you have the world's best doctors to take care of you and detect any cancers or anything that come up. You can. By being a billionaire, you can likely extend your life quite a bit because you have access to all these resources that normal people don't. So I don't know why you would do shit like that. But then we were talking about this, and apparently there's like two types of billionaires. There's the ones who are like what I'm describing, where it's like everything's super safe, only eat really healthy food, work with the best health people, don't do anything insane. And there's the other ones that it's like they use their money to always do the most insane shit possible. And they're also the ones who are going to pay freaking, whatever, Elon Musk to go up to space to do a little roundabout in his rockets and shit like that, even though half of them explode. Like they're the first people in line for that shit. And they just want the most out of life as they can, even if it means doing the most insane, dangerous shit all the time. And those are the types of billionaires who are on that thing.
It's funny you say that, because I had the same conversation with people for the last week. They're saying, some people are like, screw them, they too bad. You're a billionaire and you went and put yourself in that position. But I realized this not from obviously not hanging out with famous people or celebrities and all that, but just from watching so much TMZ and so many reality shows and all that, is that celebrities who have all the money in the world are sometimes some of the unhappiest people in our society, because a lot of us live our daily lives with that dream of having the unlimited amount of money where we can do everything we want in our lives. And then I thought about it. If ever I was in that position, 10 years into that rich or the riches and the fame or whatever it is, I probably would have already done everything I've wanted to do. I've owned every car. Like, I'd love to own a Lambo.
But fancy cars can only make you so happy.
Okay,
right?
So that'll be boring after a while. Nobody cares about me driving this thing anymore. I've already showed off in it. I already own the big mansion on Post Road here beside Drake. All right, cool. Nobody cares anymore. And it goes on and on and on to the point where these billionaires, I think, are like, all right, what can I do that not many people have done on this planet? And that always includes these crazy things to space, This thing where less people have gone down to see the Titanic than have gone to space.
Yeah.
Okay, super enticing for them. And I think it's almost like they're playing with house money in their lives, right? They're bored. They've been to the pyramids. They've been to every other, all the wonders of the world they've seen. They've traveled to every country. Me, if I had that kind of money, that's what I'd be doing my first few years of having a lot of money, is traveling everywhere I've always wanted to, buying all the cars I've always wanted to, buying the house I've always wished I had, my dream house. But I could see that getting real boring after a while, to the point where everyone who works right now says, I just want to be rich and sit at home and do nothing and own everything I want to own and live my life. Guess what? It doesn't work that way. Not for everybody, for the majority. They get bored, right? Like John Morant, you're like, fucking guy, he's rich. Why is he doing stupid shit? Because he's bored, man. He's still young. He wants to go party with his friends. Doesn't care about the riches. Forget the damn riches. You still always want more, I think. And that's just how we're built. So these
it's like
guys
the human dilemma. Yeah,
these guys want on their resume, hey, here's my selfie with the wreckage of the Titanic. And you don't have that, you billionaire,
being a billionaire is all about like freaking flexing, what I mean, like freaking showing off, like we don't need to say what it is, what kind of measuring contest it is, but that's basically what it is.
You've always said that,
like, especially if the other billionaires are like, I'm too scared to get, like, if your billionaire friends like, I'm too scared to go to the Titanic submarine, you're like, I'm gonna do it, because that's the only thing you have left. Like, you have more money than everybody else, you can have any car you want, whatever you want, so the only thing you have left is your hubris against
crazy shit like that,
against other people like you. That's why Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg are going to have a fucking cage match, is because that's the only thing they have left, is to fight each other. That's the only last thing, which also Zuckerberg is going to freaking destroy him, by the way, because Zuckerberg's been training like
we need to see
all this other shit for years.
I saw that Dana White was part of that. But
which is weird, because Dana White has said that he doesn't do like the celebrity matches.
No, I don't know why he's getting. I mean, it's weird. Maybe something like Karate Combat should get these guys to do it. So a smaller promotion like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that or like a really something random, that because these guys are not MMA. There would be no MMA going on. So forget the UFC.
I think it'd be awesome, honestly.
It'd have to be something more simple that you can train them to do, where they get kick each other.
Well, because Zuckerberg's been training. Zuckerberg allegedly won an MMA tournament like recently, like a jiu-jitsu. Here, let's watch some Zuckerberg in the gym.
I gotta see that, actually. I didn't see.
Here we go. Okay, here he is sparring.
Oh shit, he would destroy him.
Oh yeah, good. Yeah, he's pretty fast.
Man. Elon Musk goes down in a second against that.
So this is as much as Zuckerberg is like totally a freak, right? And like despicable in certain ways. Whatever. We don't really know enough. I don't really know enough about him, but what I will say is that this is what I think is like respectable to do with your billions, is that it's like things that require you to do work that you can't buy. Yes, he can buy the best trainers and the best facilities and the best protein shakes, recovery, whatever, and he doesn't have to work his job like the rest of us to make money. But at the same time, it's like there is no substitute for hard work, especially when it comes to training. Yep. So I would say that definitely, like, billionaires spending their money on training and trying to be like good fighters, that to me is respectable. That actually makes more sense to me than doing a bunch of dumb shit like trying to go to the bottom. This
is making me laugh, man.
Like this makes
you just submitted the other guy in a sparring session. The other
guy,
I
don't mean submitted. That's his trainer.
The guy
tapped,
like that, but the guy tapped.
Yeah, I don't think the guy
it's ridiculous. That's outrageous. They know
that.
That's being filmed. That's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. But what about Elon Musk? Apparently he saw those photos of himself on that yacht, and like he went into some crazy training thing.
Big fat.
I'm like, dude, how did you not know you look like? There's no way that was your first ever look at yourself as to how you look. Like he went bonkers apparently and hired like 20 trainers, a new chef, everything.
He's a big guy. He's like a broad and tall dude. So I feel like
height. Like what's do we have
what do you think? What do you think?
Do we have the tail of the tape between the two? I'm sure somebody did that.
What do you think? He is.
I don't know.
It's very specific.
I'd love to see the two beside each other in terms of.
He has claimed on Twitter that he is 6'2", and the official height is 6'1.5". And Zuckerberg's 5'8". So
that's what I was going to ask. Whoa.
So I think if you trained both of them evenly for the same amount of time and the same techniques, I think Musk would win because he's 5 inches and
what the hell weight class is that? Like random? Like,
I don't know.
Be 100 pounds apart, man. Jesus.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if there's
it's celebrity weight class is what it is. There's no.
I don't know.
But that whole thing played out on a Spaces from a former member of the NFT and Web3 space.
That's right.
Member. I forgot what's his name,
Mario or whatever.
So this
Mario Nafwal.
Yeah. So he just changed his profile picture from an NFT to his own face.
Yeah.
And apparently the community went nuts. But his other Elon Musk actually responded to him quite a few times. And this guy now, I've been watching him for the last couple of weeks. He's doing spaces that have tens of thousands of people in them and covering some of the really world's
topical things.
He's kind of like a Twitter media person who's not really part of any, media entities. So pretty cool to see. I looked in my DMs. I've had a few interactions with him about from way back in the day but just random stuff. Like I don't remember what the hell he said, but it's nice to see somebody taking the opportunity. But he said that Elon Musk's mom contacted him as well and told him that the fight was fake. But then Elon said it's not and said it's real.
Oh yeah, Mario Nafwal follows us on Twitter. That's weird.
Yeah, no.
He's very strange.
He was pretty small time back in the in the beginning, right?
Yeah, he's done well.
But he's someone who took the opportunity and when he saw the opportunity to use spaces as a platform that no mainstream media can really use because they still don't. Like if you go anywhere, you don't ever see CNN doing spaces. You don't ever see any of these,
and they don't know how to do that.
Just don't do it, right?
It's all about personalities in it though now, Phil. It's a lot less about like media brands and stuff like that. Like even First Mint, it's like we live off our personalities. That's what people come here for. They're not like, man, First Mint, I love that brand. You know what I mean? Like some do, but it's like if we died on a Titanic submarine, like I don't think First Mint would continue, or maybe it'd continue in our honor. Phil, would you? What if we fought each other? You ever thought about that?
Yeah, but no, that's something I wouldn't do because it's like
what?
No, what the hell is that, man? Like
you're the one you just talked about last week. You talked about how you train like every week. You run like a million miles a week. I'm sitting here like a fucking fat slob living up on a hill doing nothing. You'd destroy me if we did it right now.
Do you have? But you don't have anywhere where anyone would fight their sibling. That doesn't make any sense in any form of combat. No, there's no chance.
If there was ever a Web3,
here's the deal.
Okay. Clearly, the idea makes you uncomfortable. If ever there was a Web3 celebrity like slate, instead of definitely you and I would be on it, and instead of us having fight each other, I think it'd be a tag team battle where you and I fight two other people. I think that's what it would have to be. You would have to find two people for us to rumble with.
I will only fight you in two different ways. It has to be in those sumo suits where you can barely move, or I've always wanted to do this. This is number 2 on the bucket list behind Spartan Race.
Yeah,
I want to do the bubble thing. You know those bubbles where you just annihilate people and they like bounce 100 times,
like bubble soccer.
Yeah, that.
Is that what you're talking about?
I've always wanted to send someone to orbit in one of those things. Like you see people bounce each other, like where the guy rolls like 1,000 times. I'm dying to do that. Absolutely dying to do that. And number 3 on that list, while we're at it, although I don't want to break my limbs, I want to do that cheese chasing thing down the hill. We should do a First Mint cheese chase.
But
people kill themselves on
all
that hill.
All the things you said, like helicopters, bungee, I would do all that shit before I chase the cheese down the fucking hill. That looks like, hold on, let's take a look at that. That looks
they come out of that with like their arms bent the wrong way and their legs all
fucked. My God. That's like crazy British people do that kind of shit, man. Like get freaking Dumbo in here, man. For sure he's done
They're actually talking about it in the Olympics because there's like people that train all over.
Okay, here, let's take a look. This is definitely, okay, you know what makes sense for the Olympics? Because this is definitely what they used to make poor people do. Like this is definitely like a peasant sport where like the rich people would line up on the hill and they'd be like, okay, we have like 3 cheeses for the entire village. Everybody line up and you have to chase it down a hill and whoever gets the cheese wins and you get to feed your family this month. Everybody else, you're screwed. So this is for sure.
Like, the harder they fell.
This is definitely like a peasant sport. Here we go.
Here we go. People die halfway down. Look at the guy on the right,
this is way worse than a Spartan race, man. You are going to destroy your tailbone.
Look at the guy. Oh, what is happening?
Okay, come on. Just get to the cheese. The women's competition. Here we go. I can't even watch this. Yeah. This is so twisted. I can't watch any more of this.
I said I'd like to participate. I don't want to win. I want to participate in the sense that I'm halfway down the hill watching all of this and being part of it, but I have no interest in somersaulting like 80 times down the hill. Like
no, man, that's the last thing I would ever do. I would get in the octagon with you and let you knock me out like 8 times before I chase the cheese down a hill. Honestly, like I'd rather that than chase the freaking cheese, man.
We have a lot of
so
events
awful.
to plan, LG. Like we've mentioned,
This is all going to be the
different
same
events we
event,
wanna
though.
run, but
No, this is all the same event. This is all going to be one.
So
like,
the first mint versus OTM hockey game is the same event as this.
It's a first mint Olympics. Okay, it's the first mint like week of feats. Okay, and we're show up. We're going to do a Spartan race. We're going to go on a canoe trip in the wilderness, and you might not survive. Some people might not survive. We have to fight bears and shit. We are going to do OTM first mint hockey game, and we're going to chase the cheese down a hill. And then at the end, it's going to be a Royal Rumble. Everyone's going to fight each other. How about that? And then it's all this, and it's all in Vegas. It'll be perfect. We'll play. We'll get anybody. Maybe somebody can recruit some of the Golden Knights Stanley Cup champions to play in the OTM first mint hockey game.
Or actually, maybe they can recruit one or two of those millions of fans they showed outside that arena after the Vegas Golden Knights won the championship. I don't know if you saw that. But if there is ever a hired crowd, it would be that crowd we saw. There is no way that a crowd in Vegas outnumbered crowds in cities like Toronto or anywhere else. It was exaggerated. Like they hired too many. There was millions of people, not for the parade, for like the last game outside the arena. It looked like Woodstock. I'm like, hold on a second. That wouldn't even happen in Toronto. Like, what the hell is going on? Who are these fans?
It's exactly, you know what it is? It's exactly like when the World Cup was starting last year.
Yeah. That was the best.
Yeah, exactly. Amazing. It's exactly like that Big World fans. Cup. Yeah, 100%.
That was so good in Qatar. They were showing like all these guys.
Oh yeah, all these. It was all the same. It was all the same group of dudes, and they were all. Each of them were, and then it was different clips of them cheering for different countries, but it was clearly the same guys, and they were
Sweden
all.
fans were all from the Middle East. It was like
they were all
dudes.
They were all the same.
Zero women.
That way, exactly. They all kind of looked like they were brought in from the same country to pretend to be like Argentina fans and like Canada fans. It's like, what the hell? It's a little weird. That's definitely what they got. The same people. That's what they should do. Is get the same people in Vegas. It'll make total sense.
Did something because there's not that many fans. It's a brand new franchise. Like, come on, give me a break. It's Vegas. There's not even any minor hockey in Vegas. Like,
it's their first pro team, though. You know, you don't know.
I get it. And they're getting more.
Phil, tail of the tape. I do have it here for Elon versus Zuckerberg. It is. Elon Musk, he's at 6'1", 187 pounds, which I really doubt.
No way.
Photos of him, he's way bigger. And Zuckerberg is 5'7", 154 pounds, and there's 12 years difference between them. Elon is 12 years older than Zuck.
Well, they both at the wrong end of the weight. All right, Zuckerberg is at least 10 pounds lighter, and Elon's minimum 50 pounds heavier than that. That's some BS right there. No chance. I'd love to see it. Maybe we can get on that card, LG, in some way, shape, or form. Maybe we can get on that same.
Why don't you talk to your buddy Mario Nafal, who created the fight, and tell him that we want to get on that card somehow and get us on there?
Man, I'm telling you, I've been following. He was actually leading the updates for the Titanic vessel.
He was,
before the media were reporting this stuff. Like he reported that they found. The pieces or whatever, like way before the actual media. That's where I found out. And I'm like, wait, the media doesn't even know about this. It's really cool to see because, we've always been big fans of spaces. And this goes back to what we were talking about. And it's kind of like your ability, like think of it. If you're running a news network to bring somebody on, even one of our shows, LG, you have to give that person a time. You have to make sure they have a camera set up. You have to make sure their audio is set up. And you kind of have to fit them in. On Spaces, man, he had like the former prime minister or president of Pakistan or whatever it was, just basically download the app of Twitter if he doesn't already have it, which he already did, and just, hey, hit the Spaces button. Here I am, and I can come and go whenever I want. I don't have to show my face, and I don't need any audio connection, and I'm going to give you my thoughts. Right? I thought it's been fun to watch. I'll tell you, and the guy's really taken off, and he's kind of juggling how to handle this new fame of like if people tweet like Elon tweeted, Mario gets it. Or sorry, this is the best thing. The best story out there is Mario's. And if you read the responses, people are worshiping him now. I'm like, man, that's a huge turnaround. This guy from when we first kind of, just interacted.
He's done well. That could have been you, right? Phil. You could have been Mario if you got yourself CryptoPunk and dedicated your life.
That's right. Is that what he had? Is that a CryptoPunk?
He had a punk. Yeah, he had a punk.
Oh, that's where he's.
You know what I watched recently? I've been watching the Conor McGregor doc on Netflix. You watch that?
I haven't started it because I'm still finishing the F1. I try and spread these things out. I try and not watch them all at one time. Like I'll watch every race week. I'll watch one episode. It kind of makes it better. And tennis, there's a nice tennis one and the golf one. I have all those lined up. I watch all of them, but Conor McGregor one is in my list of next 3 or 4 to watch. Tell me about it. I want to hear about this.
You know what? The thing is that I only started watching UFC like 2 years ago, right? So it's kind of right after Conor's last fight. So against Poirier. So it's kind of a good catch up because obviously I followed the news from afar of him like trying to attack Khabib on the bus and like him coming back and winning against Cerrone and stuff. But it's I mean, obviously it's good that, you know, everybody's kind of had this, everybody has this like all access thing now, right? Like that's a very normal thing in sports. It wasn't before to have, you know, Hard Knocks, Last Dance, like all these kind of documentaries. So it's interesting. I don't know if it's anything like that stunning, let's say, but it's also super clear like the change that he goes through in terms of just like becoming kind of this normal family guy and calming down. And to me, honestly, like, you know, I'm up to the part where he loses the first fight against Poirier, where he gets pretty much knocked out. And afterwards, like, you know, and his legs gets all fucked up and he's nice with Poirier after. He's very humble. And I'm like, you know what? That's nice to see that he's grown up. But I was like, it's so boring. Like it's just not like, it's just not the same. And now I understand a little bit more. It's like, will Conor fight again? And I'm like, I don't think it really matters. Like he's a big celebrity, but that heyday is gone. Like, unless he's about to come back and just go on this insane streak and win the belt and just be the super dominant guy again. But that fire is not there. It's not, he was like borderline homeless when he became the champion, right? Or started booking fights. And it's like, once you lose that, it's not the same. And it's kind of like, I kind of compare him, and it's not a fair comparison but in terms of impact and kind of like late stardom, I kind of compare it to like Tiger Woods, right? Where it's like those 5 years of Tiger Woods where he was unbelievable, or 5-6 years, are so insane. He's so good. He was such like he basically created the current fandom around the sport. And that's where like Conor will be the face of the UFC for a really, really, really long time. Where it's like, if he does anything, it's immediately way more important than even him punching the mascot in Miami a couple weeks ago. That's immediately way more important than anything else that happens in the UFC. You know what I mean? And it's like, and it'll be like that for a long time. And totally in a couple of years, he could have a late career resurgence where he like wins a couple fights. Everyone's like, whoa, he's still got it. He could keep doing celebrity fights until he's 60 and still be a massive draw. But the part where he'll be a dominant super fighter, like that is so clearly gone. Long gone. You know what I mean? Like that is, it's just not, that was just the right time, the right guy, the right everything. And it just won't happen again.
Well, you know? I continuously go back to the same point about the UFC, is that the superstar fighters, when they're on top of the world for as long as they are, the minute they lose a single fight, they are completely done with for the most part. They will never be the same after, ever. Okay.
No.
You know,
like Ronda Rousey's a good example. It's like when she finally lost to Holly Holm, it was just like,
me, was
didn't
like,
matter anymore.
You never missed a Ronda Rousey fight, no matter what. I've never said that about Amanda Nunes or any of the other women. No. But when Ronda fought, for me, you didn't miss the fight. I had the same feeling I had with Conor, with GSP, guys like that. You had to see this fight because of how brutal she was, right? Her personality was just so mean and aggressive, and she was such a champion that when she lost that fight, she never made it back. That's a great example.
No.
Right? Even Anderson Silva was like, oh my God, this guy forever, biggest superstar. Then he lost, and it was like, oh my God, here's another loss, and another, and another, and another. GSP, though, went out as a champion, right?
Yeah.
He teased coming back, but he's like, I think he felt, I don't ever want to go out that way. And like Conor is you will not find a bigger Conor fan than me the last 10 years. But the minute he dabbled into that whole boxing thing with Floyd Mayweather, because he was kind of bored with the UFC, is when it all went south with Conor. Okay.
Yeah.
He spent 2 or 3 years with that bullshit fight with Mayweather, doing promo tours and like stealing Mayweather's guys like backpacks that had money in them and whipping the money all over the place. And it was borderline WWE style, which Conor is actually perfect for. He really is. Like the whole bus thing was as WWE as it gets. Attacking a bus and smashing windows is what you see in the WWE when, you know, Vince rolls up and his boys.
Yeah, WWE is fake. He was doing it for real. It's a little,
he was doing it for real.
Extreme,
But he got lost in all of that. And again, that goes back to our point about money. Okay.
Yeah.
He had made more money outside of the UFC than any other fighter maybe ever with his whiskey brand and all his endorsements and all that, where his prize purse for fights was nothing compared to what he was making on the outside. It's the same with Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods makes hundreds of millions of dollars. If he wins a tournament, he makes $1 or $2 million. Do you know what I mean? So, but Tiger Woods is not an issue. He didn't lose a drive. He just, but Tiger Woods is kind of the same thing. He got caught up with drugs and with substance abuse things and weird things like that. He was at his best when he was, hooking up with all those women while he was married and weird things like that. It's true though. He was at his best when he was doing these things that he didn't get caught for. But anyways, back to Conor is that it's easy, especially a sport like the UFC where you have to train for 6 months straight for a fight. But if you win the fight, you win $1 million or $2 million, but your bank account has $400 million in it. What is your motivation to do that for 6 months and be away from your family and can't drink and can't party and can't do anything? Why do you care? Right?
Yeah.
So you might
care, but you're not going to obsess over it. Like, and that's what I noticed in the documentary is that like when he decided to come back, when he fought Cerrone, all that kind of stuff, it was like, well, now he's treating it like a job, which is good at his job, clearly, but it's a job to him. It's like a job. He's like, I'm not really doing anything else. I made, whatever, a couple $100 million from the Floyd fight, from endorsements, from being this massive celebrity, can have any yacht, whatever I want. But so what's the drive? And it's like, Zuckerberg wants to be an MMA fighter, which is good, but Conor already was an MMA fighter. So what does he do? And that's why you see a lot of guys go into like business, right? Start to run businesses or invest in businesses as kind of like an extra thing to do, but make more money. But otherwise, it's kind of like, and I know what the conclusion is. I know that, he loses again to Poirier, but it made me realize that it's like, even if he does come back, it'll never be the same. It won't be the same kind of thing. No, exactly.
It's not a sport where you can just pick it back up and be what you were. Once your light, your flame is kind of faded, that's it. You're done. Right. So I hope he loses the next one. I hope we don't see him again. I don't want to keep losing the legacy of Conor with all this nonsense.
That's the other thing.
He looks weird. Even his physical appearance, he looks weird. Something's off. I don't know what he did to his face. Something looks different about this guy. I don't know if he did plastic surgery. I don't know what the hell he did. Just looks different to me. And it's not the same. Now it's almost an act to me. Before it wasn't an act. Like before it was part of his person when he was a psychopath, like on The Ultimate Fighter and stuff like that. Now it's almost like it's forced because he needs to be like that for people to like him. But I'm beyond it. I don't know. I'll watch, but I'm done with the whole Conor thing. I'm ready. I'm ready for the next big superstar.
Last thing I'll say on that is that I had to turn on the subtitles because I don't understand a fucking word he was saying. When he'd be at like UFC events and press conferences, speaking very clearly, but when it's like him at home with his wife and his kids and stuff, I'm like, I don't know what the hell he's saying.
Oh, he probably talks in dialect of like pure Irish.
It's just the way you're talking. It's the way you talk in your hometown. It's just a little bit different. And so I thought that was kind of funny. I had to turn on the subtitles to understand what the hell he was saying. So anyway, Phil, you we talked about NBA. Did you wanted to talk about some Top Shot drama? Is that true? There's a little bit drama, right? Before talk about it a little bit. I feel like we haven't talked about it in a while.
I tend to, because I don't care that much anymore, and I think most people feel the same way. We don't I don't have notifications on for everything Top Shot and all that. It's so funny how many notifications I took off Twitter recently. I'm like, why the hell do I still get these notifications? Like, no, I don't. See you later. So I mostly get my news from like some of the critics. Like AG is one of the biggest trolls / critics out there when it comes to Top Shot. And he said it again today. The minute everything unlocks, I am selling everything. I'll be gone, and these are my last tweets you're ever going to hear from me about Top Shot. Okay, I'll be gone straight up. So at least he doesn't waver. Okay, he's been on that vibe for a year now. So I saw him kind of get involved in some tweets, and I'm like, all right, I always have to see what the drama is about. So, anyways, they had that rookie pack drop moment leaderboard the last few days, where you had to finish, and I didn't know this. You had to finish in the top 3,000 of the leaderboard of burning rookie moments. Any rookie moment you burned, you would get points for and join a leaderboard. And the top 3,000 would earn these new rookie. Are they new rookies? The 4 Badgers? I guess. I don't know what's in there.
No, they're 2021 stuff.
Oh, I had no clue what they're even.
Yeah, it's
okay.
They're just they did. So that's what kind of I think people were mad about or just weren't impressed with was that they were doing a challenge that's around this draft, but actually had nothing to do with this draft. You know what I mean? It was just like yeah. So I believe so. Maybe I'm wrong because I don't really follow. But it's basically that they were like, okay, burn rookie moments, and we have all this unreleased supply of rookies that they should be fucking burning. They shouldn't be like, let's give you more of this. That they were like, okay, so you get onto this leaderboard, and then you'll get these rookies from 2 years ago. So you can go out, Phil, who's a really random 2021 rookie, like an Emmanuel Quickly. Ooh, like wow,
Well,
Emmanuel Quick, Obi Toppin. Oh, like some really exciting rookies.
Yeah, where the hell are those guys? But here's the thing, though, and I don't know if it's you that brought this up, but somebody brought this up, maybe in our Discord or somewhere else.
Sure.
Would it have hurt them to provide some sort of rookie moments from the draft? Okay. What I will find the most interesting would be to release moments of the. I know they don't have a moment because they haven't played, but it doesn't mean you can't do a rookie something of them, maybe even getting drafted, right?
Yeah.
Because it would be really fun to see the trading of those moments before any of them even play an NBA game, to the point where you 100%. Think someone's going to be tremendous in the league and the thing's going for $40.
Yeah.
And then the guy turns into a nobody. And then someone else owns, I don't know, some guy who got picked late.
Those should trade all summer. Those should be trading all summer.
They should be. And I think it'd be pretty popular, right?
And it's like they literally have the tech. They just did redemptions, right? Which was okay.
That's right.
Here's a Jamal Murray moment. You don't know what it is yet. And you'll have to burn it once it's time, once we have one for him. So right now, what you could do is be like, we're going to make a moment for every single player in the draft. Okay. It's a redeemable. And as soon as he plays an NBA game, we're going to mint that.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Good.
Each one is limited to whatever, the number they say, like 4,000, or make it more exciting, 1,000.
Or as soon as you get a bucket, so that way, we'll get you that bucket.
Because right now the rookie premieres, which is the only thing I collect on Top Shot, is the triple badge. Like it's their first score ever in their NBA career, or whatever, play from their first thing.
Yeah.
So I literally recently bought like some of the ones from this year, like and some of the small ones are like $5, like Kenneth Lofton Jr. You know what I mean? Like that kind of stuff. Yeah. Just random, but I'm like, I like having their first play. So you make it like a redeemable thing, right? Like the same thing. And then once they play, even if it's 5 months from now, 6 months from now, might be 5 years from now, you can trade it in. And then if you buy one for a guy that never plays, then that's actually kind of cool too. Then you just have the NFT, like the draft NFT from this dude who never played an NBA game, which is, we all know there's definitely there's at least a dozen guys in the draft who will never, ever play in the NBA. And then there's never a redemption, but then it's part of the system, because they are still in the NBA IP. Once they're drafted, they are still in some way. Maybe they have to sign a contract or something like that. So that's where it's complicated. But definitely for Wemby and stuff like that, you can absolutely make that happen. I'm sure the NBA would push back on that, or maybe something like that. But that what you're suggesting, I think what we're suggesting is the ultimate system, because you should be able to be able to trade Scoot and Wemby and all those guys right now. You know what I mean? Like you should be able to trade.
And all summer, when their summer league plays out and you see these guys playing their summer league teams, you're going to have some that emerge out of there like, holy shit, this guy can really play. And then that one will become popular. I think they kind of missed the boat with that. And then somebody actually compared them to So Rare, where So Rare had Wemby part of their like draft night. There was a video of So Rare with
he's already freaking maudit français, man. He's already part of it. You know what I mean? He's probably freaking
he's already
friends
well
with
connected.
Julian or whatever his name is. Nicholas Julia.
But again, so anyway,
Gobert and all those guys.
The drama came about because, me, like so many other people, I saw the communications on Twitter, by email about this leaderboard thing. And all the previous leaderboards, me having locked up moments I don't want to ever burn and keeping stuff like that, I never thought I could participate in one of these leaderboard challenges, because apparently that LeBron one, a lot of people got screwed. They burned the LeBron and then they didn't end up in the top whatever.
You had to burn a legendary of his or something like that. So
and then they got screwed by not finishing in the top whatever. So I'm like, you know what? I'm not even playing this game. I don't have that many things to burn. And then I find out today, I saw the tweet that said, you could have burned one moment and you would have got a pack. That's how little
that's how few people actually tuned in. Yeah,
that's right. It was apparently close to 2,000 out of the 3,000. And apparently, if you burned a $9 moment, you were in the top 100 or something like that. Like, that's wild. That is absolutely wild.
Especially with the chance. I don't know if you had a chance at the 4 Badgers from that 2021 season, which is 2021, which is series 2. But like, there's LaMelo 4 Badgers in there, Anthony Edwards, Halliburton, Maxey, Desmond Bain. Like, it's not. Some of those cards are worth like $80, so it's not bad.
So what do they do with those packs, LG? Those 1,000 packs that are not going to be claimed? How are we going to see the distribution of these packs?
I don't fucking know.
Right?
I have no idea.
Seriously. So, and here's the point that AG was making.
Okay.
He was saying, why didn't they make a simple tweet in the last hours or whatever saying, hey, only 1,500 are on the leaderboard. All you need to do is burn one moment and you're probably going to get a pack or something like that. And then others obviously the same category as AG, jumped in and said, no, hell no, they're not. Who are they to baby you? They're just useless anyways. That's what the point was, right? But, you know, to his point, if they make that tweet, then they're admitting that only 1,500 people are still active right now and even paying attention to anything they're doing. So what side of that do you sit on? Do you sit on the Top Shot side where you keep your silence and just get through this whole thing, and now you have 1,000 packs to do something with? Or do you engage your community? Because I'm sure if they say all it takes is to burn probably one moment and you'll get on this leaderboard, you probably fill up those 3,000 spots. That's my guess. Because I know I would have done it. I would have found something to burn. People love free packs. They just love free shit. They love ripping packs. If they knew they only had to buy one moment and burn it, they would have done it to try and get on that.
I mean, couldn't you just double down and give them to the people who did the challenge?
No, you could, for sure. And they probably will.
I think that makes the most sense. If not if people claim them, then just give everything you plan to give
but
to the
you
people
could
who did the
have
challenge
kind
anyways.
of incited engagement by saying only 1,500 have been claimed or 2,000. Then you would have got the people at the bottom competing for those last 1,000 spots by maybe burning 3, 4, 5 moments instead of just one, right? Because you know, you could burn one and get on there, but you might have to burn 2 or 3. I'm sure so many people would have done it. But we're kind of
listen, but Phil, we're over leaderboards.
That's it. That's
like,
exactly it. I don't even look at them anymore.
I mean, there's a lot of problems. We always talk about this, but I think the issue with Top Shot right now is that when they find something that people like, they beat it to death immediately. You know what I mean? So I can guarantee you, like, redemptions, get ready to do redemptions every week next year. You know what I mean? Like, they're just like, that's the same thing. Like, what was it? One of the first, after everything crashed, you know, start 2022 or 2021, 2022 season. What did they start to do that people thought were cool? Flash challenges. Who's getting the most rebounds tonight? You're going to need those moments tomorrow for the pack. Ooh, that's exciting. People like that. Great. Let's do it every night. Terrible.
Yeah,
like just do it. It's like finding out your kid. You're like, oh shit, my kid actually likes Brussels sprouts, and then you feed them Brussels sprouts every night. It's like, no, don't do that.
It's like buying the same bag of chips week after week. You're eventually not going to buy them.
No, we don't want that all the time. So now they're like, what's worked well for engagement this year? Leaderboards. Let's make every single fucking thing that happens a leaderboard. It's like, no, nobody wants that. Like, stop with the fucking leaderboards.
That's why I didn't know the rules. So I never followed up.
Leaderboard. Let's do the rookies, the leaderboard. Oh, free agency. Let's do the leaderboard. Summer league. Let's do the leaderboard. You know what I mean? It's like, no, stop with the fucking leaderboards. Like, it's over.
That was the main reason.
People locked a year ago for leaderboards, and now when the unlock happens, like, people are going to jump like fucking crazy because people don't want leaderboards anymore. The leaderboards are special at first because it's like team leaderboards, and they came up with a million other leaderboards. Not as exciting. You know what I mean?
That's coming up, LG. That unlocking is coming up really soon. That's in a couple of weeks.
Or a month away.
Or a month. Is it a month? Okay. I don't know. I've got moments that are under 30 days now that have been locked. So it's got to be.
Oh, I don't even know how to see that.
Well, I had to scroll to the very bottom of my collection and see what I locked at the very beginning. And it's
how do you just scrolled?
So in your collection, it tells you how many days are left on your lock.
Received. No, am I just looking? Oh, okay. You can't filter by locked. You can't filter by that.
No, they didn't think that far. No,
yeah, really important feature, but you can't do anything with it. Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, I have one locked. I have a Zion rookie. 72 days. I locked pretty late. I didn't.
So did I actually. It's coming up though. I know.
Okay, my Raptors. The Raptors is probably what first thing I locked. So I have a Stanley Johnson locked with 46 days remaining. So mid-August.
So maybe I'm a bit off. I think it's somewhere around there. Anyways.
No, I did it later. So no, you're right. I have a Kyle Lowry 24 days remaining.
So here we go. That'll probably be the most attention that site gets in a very long
July
time.
20th.
Whenever these things unlock, because you're gonna have people like the AGs out there that have made it very clear they don't give a shit what they sell for. They are dumping the world. Okay. All the angry people are ready to dump. So if you're looking to go shopping, that'll probably be a really good time to throw some offers out there now, because those offers will be accepted for a bargain price, I'm sure, right? If you have something you really want.
Phil, what do you want? What do you want out of all this stuff on Top Shot?
I want like those SGAs that are like, those gold metallics that are like, or metallic golds. I always say gold metallic.
Meagles?
The Meagles, that are like $120. I want them for like 40. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Stuff like that. I don't care. I just collect what the hell I want. So there's no pressure for me. There's nothing for me to get mad at. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right? Like I don't care. I'm doing my own thing. Nothing they do has an impact on me.
So you would want like a Series 1 Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Yeah, guys like that.
His debut. It's currently going for 400. Looks like somebody recently accepted an offer for like 275 or something. Or no, there's an offer for 257 right now.
Yep. Yeah, that's
how many are locked? Does it tell you? Nope.
I don't think you can see that data.
Locked.
You cannot see that data, which is, I've said it for a long time. That doesn't make sense. We
Just
need to
things,
know
the
how many are
ends
coming
tied together
off lock. Like that data has to be there. I don't know why they can't evolve with that stuff.
Yeah,
that's still stuff that needs to be. If the locking was such a big feature, there should have been all the tools available for people to kind of track, right? Maybe on live token, you can probably see it.
Yeah,
it shows lock moments.
Shea has 3 different legendaries. He didn't have one in Series 1, so he has 3 different hollows that you could buy if you want to spend $700 US, which you don't.
No, you're not. I don't recommend anybody spend crazy stuff in the next couple of weeks. Wait till the so-called mass exodus that they're calling for happens, and let's see what happens. I need to know the date though. I need to know the exact date of the first unlocking when they allowed you to lock. I need to find that date out because that could be a pretty wild day of activity.
You mean, you could do, Phil, is you could go back in the blogs from last year and read the first blog about locking where they said specifically that no locked moment will ever be able to be redeemed or burned or anything else. It's locked forever, despite recently letting people burn them.
Have you ever seen a college football game where the fans run on the field, the students, and then they take the goalposts and they rip them in half, and one goes out one exit and the other post goes out the other exit? That's exactly what they've done with this in terms of moving the goalposts on what they originally said and what we all thought was going on. It's like all of a sudden nothing's having success, and they're like, let's just let people burn whatever the hell they want now, even if it's locked, right? So I
like your idea. I like what you said for the draft. I think something like that would be cool, or even I don't know, some form of something like that would be sweet.
But you're right. Who the hell wants Emmanuel quickly and Obi Toppin?
Or what else could be fun, Phil? Is even forget even you can even add another layer to it where you take each team and you're like who they draft, and you don't know beforehand. You don't know if they're going to trade or what the hell they're going to do. It's like like a couple weeks before the draft, like you have a Blazers first round pick or something like that.
What if they trade their first round pick? Then what?
then you just have this ticket that you can
a piece of crap.
No, but whatever. But people like, the one thing's clear to me in NFTs, people like collecting weird things. Not everything people collect has to have some kind of significance. People like that. Like
maybe you keep it for next year.
People are holding unredeemed playoff redemptions, even though you can't do anything with them anymore. People like that. People like having those. So I think totally having these oddities would totally work. You know what I mean? Like they should have given us little ball NFTs for the draft, for the lottery or something like that. You know what I mean? Like that would have been fun. Anything like that.
100% true.
There's no such thing.
Even actually, that's a good idea. It doesn't even have to be team based. It could have been a number in the draft. Like the number 4 pick, the number 5. They could have gone so many different ways with this. And instead, we're getting packs that nobody knows about, and it's packs of guys from 2 years ago that I assume not too many care about.
I'm going to veer this in a completely different direction and stop talking about Top Shot. Speaking of weird things that people collect, I bought something on the weekend that is very bizarre. And it's on its way. I bought it on eBay, and it's kind of a video game, but I think it's going to be a collector's item. And I found out about it through my friend T-Pan, who wrote an article the other day about what a McDonald's DAO would look like. Like if McDonald's got into Web3, what it would look like. And this item was only available for purchase in China at McDonald's. And people clearly went and are selling them on eBay. It is a chicken McNugget shaped Game Boy that you can play Tetris on.
What the hell, man? And look at that little thing at the bottom. Hot.
Yeah, I think that's the eBay person. The eBay person used that.
Oh my God.
You can buy it for $20 US right now. I'm pumping my bags. Pumping my bags.
100% scam.
No,
you are not getting a chicken McNugget.
I'm gonna get chicken McNuggets. There won't be any game with attached to it. Yeah. But I love this. I think this is a fantastic idea that McDonald's. Here we go. Let's watch the video. Here we go.
Why though? Did someone you think somebody one day was eating nuggets and like this looks like a Game Boy? Like there has to be.
Look at this. Look at this. You open it.
Comes in the package of McNuggets.
Yes, it comes in a McNuggets box. It has a whole like little thing. You turn it on.
Holy shit!
You put batteries inside if you need to, and then you play Tetris on it. You play McDonald's freaking. Okay, whoa, what the hell's going on? You play McDonald's Tetris on it.
Huge scam. You should have got an extra
one. Scam? This is like the best kind of McDonald's item you could ever want, man.
It's one of those two where the battery runs out after like a few weeks, and then you can only get the battery from probably
this
China.
Person with the insane nails is playing
insane
Tetris
nails. That's all I can look at.
Yeah, the nails are really intense.
Is it like pieces of food that come down, or it's actually Tetris?
No, it's Tetris. You're actually just playing original Tetris.
Like fries and shit.
Yeah, no. You have to fit the fries and the burgers and the Happy Meals together. And at one point, when you win, Ronald McDonald comes out.
I think if you got an extra one as a prize for like trivia, you would have had like 1,000 people play. You're right. People love stupid shit, man.
Yes.
People absolutely love stupid things like that. So,
yes. Yeah.
Well, you'll have to give us a demonstration and show it next time. When you finally receive this thing, we want to see it live and alive on this show.
We'll organize a tournament where if you can beat.
I want to see if it's like the size of your face or if it's like the size of maybe your.
I think it's really small. I think it's super, super small because even that video would just
hard to tell
that person. I don't think had very big hands. They just had giant nails, and that thing looked really, really small. Anyway, so that's my. I've kind of gotten into like it's been good for me with NFTs. It's brought me back to collecting. You knew me obviously when I was a kid. I had a lot of weird shit in my room, like a lot of figurines, action figures, all that stuff, and I got away from that. I don't know where they are. But I've started to collect more stuff like that, and I'm always going to share with you the things that I get, Phil. So
perfect.
My latest purchase.
This brings me to a very, very important question that I was going to ask you personally, but I might as well throw it on the air here. And you're going to have to answer me right now. There's no consulting anybody. There's no asking anybody. You're going to have to give me a yes or no answer. Okay. I've gone through my garage many times for different reasons. Okay.
Yes.
You have an old Christmas tree in there. Okay. Do I have your permission to launch this shit in the garbage? It is garbage day tomorrow, or are 100%. You emotionally attached to this Christmas tree that is shoved away like a body in a hockey bag of the Toronto Arrows hockey bag? That's how you gave it to me.
Yours, wasn't it? That was yours.
That was my first ever like rep.
Are my comic books in there with it by any chance?
You know what? Can you imagine they are? Like I don't. All we've ever done is
I would faint.
We've actually. But why would you put them in there though? I think we would know.
I don't know. I don't know where I put my comic books. That's the problem. Is I don't know where they are. So I assume they're in the weirdest place possible.
So since the garbage pickup is tomorrow, what I will do is once we are done recording here, I will go outside. I will open that bag. Yeah. For sentimental reasons, I might keep the bag since my first ever hockey bag.
You got to keep that. Yeah, you can't.
But the tree, if I have your permission, maybe I should do like. Remember Much Music here in Toronto and Canada used to launch the tree off the roof.
The tree every year. Yeah, the Christmas tree. Yeah.
Ed the Sock, and by the way, Ed the Sock's back on the radio, and I just can't. Okay, I don't need to hear Ed the Sock 30 years later from when we last heard him. All right, he's actually a co-host on a morning show. Ed the Sock. It's really annoying. Every time I go by that channel, I'm like, no, I don't want to hear this. And he's the same as before. But anyways, as long as I have your blessing, that Christmas tree that's been there for over 10 years now will be disposed of tomorrow morning.
You may dispose of the Christmas tree that I had for a long time. I'm coming to get my stuff, Phil, because I'm going on vacation. I'm swinging by.
You still have stuff. That's right. I'm
coming to get it. I'm going to come get it. I'm actually going to come get it.
For those
we can do on the show after is we can do a show and tell of what kind of stuff I've had in storage at Phil's house for 10 years now.
No. I think you should do like those shows, those Storage Wars things, and sell the boxes without even knowing what's in them.
Yeah.
And see if you have any takers that want to buy LG's belongings from 10 years ago.
Yeah. I don't even know what's in there right now, but I'm going to throw out an open bid. Anybody who wants to buy, how many boxes do I have?
I think it's 2 or 3 like of those kind of Walmart-ish containers. Like
let's do 2. Anybody out there, there's an open bid on the boxes of stuff that I have at Phil's house. Okay. Starting bid is $1,000.
This is something dollars and cents our good friend would definitely go for. I just feel like he'd be one of the guys.
They're going to get like my high school yearbooks and shit like that.
No. Really LG, we need to give the context here. You dropped those boxes off when you first came back to the region. You went on an ex-girlfriend's like stop tour to pick up your old stuff from there. Absolutely. You LG came back to I don't even know where the hell you were, but he came back to the region.
I was in BC. I was out west.
He's between Montreal and Toronto. There was I think it was like 2 or 3 different girlfriends, maybe even more.
He
had to stop at their houses to pick up his belongings. And he dropped them off at my place after going on a world tour of ex-girlfriends and picking up all his belongings. That's exactly what. So at your own risk, I don't know what the hell's in there. I have not opened those since we got them. Yeah. The only thing I ever opened was the hockey bag, so I was so intrigued as to what was inside. It's a Christmas tree and it's super crusty.
The Game Boy's in there. The Game Boy we had as a kid is in there somewhere. I gave it to your kid the time I was there. I gave it to your son.
Okay, so they still have it.
And he's I'm gonna play this. He's gonna play Mario Land 2, 6 golden coins or whatever it is. With first appearance of Wario.
Well, now you can give him. Yeah, now you can give him.
He's gonna play Battletoads Game Boy
next time you see him. So
he's gonna play some Battletoads.
Oh my
what else
God,
we have on Game Boy? Tetris is on there.
the memories, man.
Fuck,
All those
I don't even
car
know
trips.
whatever games we had. I'm gonna text your son right now, ask him where my Game Boy is. I'm coming for that. I need
He
it.
has it. I've seen it. He still has it. I've seen it many times.
Yeah, okay. All right.
All right.
Phil, let's get to hot take of the week. We have two to do this week. We have two different ones, okay? Because we skipped one last week. So we'll do that one first. The hot take was, what city should the NBA expand to next and why? Phil, do you have a choice on this before we actually get into the answers?
I'm still on the same page now with the emergence of basketball in Canada in general and how many good players have come out of Canada. I think we need another team. We need to give it another shot to have a team in Canada. The CEBL is a tremendous basketball league with tons of Canadian talent. There's Canadian talent everywhere. There's tons of Canadian talent coming up in the drafts, up next few drafts. There's a ton in the NBA right now. It's time to bring a team back to Canada. Now, as to which city gets that team, for me, I don't think I'd go back to Vancouver like they did the first time. And it's nothing against Vancouver. I just don't know that it's a sustainable market, although I believe it would be.
It's not.
I believe that it has a chance. I think it would be the same outcome as the first time.
No, people here are clueless. Phil, actually, I didn't tell you this. I think I saw Connor Bedard the other day going into Simons. Because Connor Bedard, who's going to be the first overall pick this year in the NHL draft, the best prospect since Connor McDavid and Sidney Crosby. He's from North Vancouver, and I was there on Saturday, and I was at the mall, and I was waiting outside Simons, which is a store from Montreal. It's like a department store. Yeah, I was waiting outside Simon, and he like walked by and rushed in there, and I was like, for sure, that's Connor Bedard. And then I chased him, and I couldn't find him in the store. My wife was like, go. She's like, go chase him. Go find him.
Yeah. Go find him and get him to say, this is Connor Bedard, and you're listening to the First Minute.
Yeah, maybe. But I, you know how I could tell it was him? Is that nobody else paid attention. Nobody else noticed it was him because people in Vancouver are kind of fair weather fans. With apologies to Ahmad Scientist, Farm Aziz, super legit fan. A lot of other people here. Other people here still think that freaking Roberto Longo plays for the Canucks, man. Like they're clueless about what's going on. Everybody here thinks that they want a freaking NBA team because that girl did a documentary recently about big country Brian Reeves. But there's no appetite here. It would fail instantly. So I can guarantee you Vancouver is not the place.
I would actually go to Montreal. Montreal, Quebec is where I would go with an NBA team because
you've got NBA players that have come out of there recently.
Tons,
you got Boucher, Lou Dort, there's a good appetite.
Benedict Mathurin, Lou Dort, Boucher.
It's a good destination. Like a lot of both Toronto and Montreal have a lot of immigrants. Like a really good place for people coming to Canada. So NBA, basketball being an international sport, like that would fit super super well there.
And you'd be able to build the rivalry with Toronto in a heartbeat because in every sport, even though it's died in hockey just because of the way they do hockey, there would be some sort of rivalry, right? There'd be a huge rivalry between the two. And it's funny because the only broadcasters we've ever met in this space, LG, that follow the NBA in Canada were the guys in Montreal. Remember those two French guys that were I forgot their names, but we even went on I went on their show
RDS.
one time.
Yeah, we went
the
on
RDS guys. They're super hardcore about basketball.
Yeah.
And I think it'd work.
I think it'd work absolutely. And the other thing,
the country has put in enough work over the last 10, 15, 20, 25 years that I think it's time to come back to Canada if it happens. It'll never happen, but I hope that it does.
Yeah, it'd be tough, but I think that is the only logical place that it would make sense. So yeah, okay. Well, anyways, it's not going to happen. Let's see some of the top answers. There's a lot, and I don't know if I'm just going to look for the funny ones. So I'm going to skip anything who wrote somebody really logical. I'm skipping you right away. So
yeah, you know the drill. That's like not watching the first.
So the answers are Flint, Michigan, and then it's a GIF of Jackie Moon, like Will Ferrell from the movie, and then expand to Springfield, Massachusetts, and make them play with peach baskets. And it's a GIF from the Canadian Heritage Minute with James Naismith inventing basketball. He's Canadian. Somebody just put a GIF of the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Was that KJ?
No. Yes, it was KJ.
Oh my God. I didn't even look. I knew it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Buffalo deserves a team back in the city. Nope.
No, that would never work there. Zero chance.
Canada, Kansas. What a hilarious prank this would be by Silver. Announce a new team in Canada finally, only for people to realize it's a tiny town in Kansas. Chaos ensues.
Okay. I have to say Kansas for me would be on the list. A huge basketball state like that would be something I would consider.
Okay. Danbury, Connecticut. They had the most gangster hockey team. Check out the Netflix documentary, Untold Crimes and Penalties.
I like that a lot. Did you watch that, LG?
No, I gotta watch that next time.
God, you have to watch this. You're gonna die. It's unbelievable. Okay.
The whale will rise again. The NBA needs this. And then it's a clip. It's a link to the Hartford Whalers song.
Hey, so, that's the same thing as the one we just heard, right? Two Connecticut answers right there. Okay.
People keep writing like Melbourne. Like it's insane. You're not going to make people travel across the freaking ocean, the Pacific Ocean, every single freaking time they have to do that. Like
the NBA 2K League has a team out of Australia for the first time this year, and they're based out of LA. And like the Shanghai Tigers as well, they were based out of LA. So it's not doable. Let's just be honest. Cross Atlantic flights or cross Pacific flights, it's just not going to happen in pro sports. It's very hard.
Y'all are better than this. There's only one answer: Seattle. Nothing else is acceptable. Real ones, no shit. That guy's for real. Anchorage. Other fan bases can then complain about the cold advantage rather than the altitude advantage. I want to see visitor benches shivering and MFers breathing steam. Well, they're not going to play outside.
Like, seriously. What was that movie called in Alaska there where they play hockey outside?
Mystery Alaska.
Yeah. No, it's not
where they have the most Australian guy possible. Russell Crowe is the captain of the hockey, the old timers hockey team. And it's like right after they did Gladiator, so he's still kind of acting like Gladiator in it anyways. It's a very weird movie. No, I don't think there's no other good ones. Everybody gave serious answers. It's so boring. I don't think anybody should win.
I have a winner already. I'm not gonna delay this one. I love the Seattle idea. I'm not sure about the explanation.
Well, everybody wrote Seattle.
I like Seattle, but it's too cliche. Everybody's been saying Seattle forever. So, Seattle's already had
it makes the most sense. Yeah.
I'm going with Danbury. I like the whole Danbury thing. I like that documentary so much. And I think that the way that, if you watch it, LG, the way these fans supported that team just because of their violent nature is so American. When I lived in Columbus, I've said this story a million times. When I'd go to hockey games there, the fans, there would be the most amazing save in the game, and the fans wouldn't move. They'd be like, you'd hear like a golf clap, okay?
Yeah.
But the minute there would be some pushing and shoving, the entire crowd would get up and start rocking the glass and banging the glass and screaming like it was a UFC fight.
Yeah.
They love shit like that. The Danbury one's good. Connecticut, I mean, always been a hotbed for college basketball, right? A lot of good players come out of that region. And that documentary is awesome. You got to go watch it. That's my choice.
That's the one.
I don't know who said it.
You know who wrote it.
I don't.
It was 90s fan.
Oh, shit. I had absolutely no idea.
90s. Good job, 90s.
I do not look at the responses, guys, no matter what.
That's good. I mean, this is from a week ago, so it's a little while ago.
Yeah. Let's hope he's listening because it doesn't get a prize, right?
Yeah. No, yeah. Yeah, or reads the newsletter. All he has to do is read the newsletter and see that. Somebody's going to tell him. Stone Cold or somebody else like that is going to tell him for sure. Ryan or Raptor News or one of those guys. Someone's going to let him know. Okay, the second one, this was not announced as a hot take competition, but I wanted to do it anyways. And it was one that we threw up the other day on the day of the draft. And it's a photo of Adam Silver and Roger Goodell talking. And Adam Silver looks like pretty disturbed by whatever Goodell is saying. And the contest was caption this photo. Okay. So the answers were, let's see here. You have to have a pitchfork. Actually, let me get the photo back up. Let me get the photo back up. So we can look at it while I'm saying the quote.
You should have got people to do voiceovers or something. Like what are they saying?
I'll read it in a dramatic way. Okay. So, okay.
Oh, wait, don't show me. I don't want to see. I'm not going to look. I'm going to turn my head. I'm not looking.
Okay. Yeah. Here we go. Okay. So, you have to have a pitchfork.
That's it.
Goodell and Silver plotting to not only deny Seattle an expansion NBA franchise, but also to help the Seahawks move. # bring back our Sonics. I'm just gonna.
People are obsessed with that, huh?
Suspending Brady wasn't that big of a deal, so Josh should be a piece of cake. Okay. So are you me in the future? You've got to eliminate the guaranteed contracts, Adam. That's pretty good. And then he says, this FTX thing is going to be huge. We'll be rich. This is a weird one. You want to talk to God? Let's go see him together. I've got nothing better to do.
Oh, okay.
Like they're going to die? What the fuck?
I like that one.
Pinhead and Larry. My name is Roger, and I'll be your counselor here at summer camp. This good. One time at band camp.
And there's nothing else? That's it? That's this one time at band camp?
This aquarium has the best views. A con man and an alien walk into a bar. What should we tell Manfred to do next to destroy his sport more? 2 pedophiles walk into a bar. Jeez.
Is that Stone Cold?
No.
Okay.
That's the Red Turtle. Whoever the fuck that is. Red Turtle, shout
KD's
out.
burner
Shout out.
account,
No,
for
Red
sure.
Turtle doesn't even follow us. No, forget you,
Yeah,
Red
that's
Turtle.
KD's burner.
Yeah. Hear me out. Hear me out, Adam. Mint 300,000 D Wade moments for $9 a piece. When they ask you for your lunch money, it's best if you just give it to them. Looks like Nickelodeon afternoons with Sticky Stickly and Ugg. Fuck is that?
Oh, you're not scrolling. Okay, I thought I couldn't look.
No, I'm not scrolling. I'm just stuck on the photo.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, I just skip some of these. So you're saying you can just overmint the comments and then make them burn them back later? I think they meant moments, not comments. Adam, you may have to try having a carb here or there. That's pretty good because Adam Silver's pretty skinny looking. Your balls bounce. Dumb and Dumber. All right, I think that's good. I think those are most of them.
Okay. I like the balls bounce one.
Okay.
I like the balls bounce, but that's a little. I'm going with.
The
I have no idea
pedophiles
who
one?
said it. The pedophiles one's good. Like honestly, it's so outrageous that I like
Yeah.
it, but it's a little too much. I don't want to give any attention to the word pedophile.
No,
so
no,
I'm not picking that.
Yeah,
I have to go with the camp counselor one. I like that one. That's what it looks like. It looks like a kid arriving for day camp or something like that, and then a creepy ass counselor. Who said that one?
Nice. Living the dream. JT is
Living the
LTD.
dream. Nice.
He has a
I like
ballers as a profile
Okay.
photo.
All right.
Yeah.
Nice. All
Good
right.
job.
Hey, baller.
Good
Baller's
job.
still
Good
going
job.
strong.
JT is living the dream. You are getting a prize from the first mint if you are able to message me to say that you won. That's all you need to do. That's the simplest thing. All you have to do is say you listened to the show or you read the newsletter, and you get a little prize.
I have to say, there is a guy at work that for years now I've been calling Kamish. Okay, he's originally from Serbia, and he's got a bald head, he's got a goatee, and he's got those round glasses.
Oh, he looks like Adam Silver is what you're saying.
He is his twin. And you know, when we come up with nicknames at work, they tend to stick. And now everybody calls him Kamish. And I always have to explain to him. And for some reason, it's been 4 years. He did not know what reference I was making. So I was sitting with him at lunch a couple of weeks ago, and I actually pulled out a picture. I'm like, wait, you don't even know what this guy looks like? And I pulled out the picture, and he got furious, telling me,
people don't want that.
He doesn't know how I could possibly compare him to that ugly mother effer like Adam Silver. He thinks he's 10 times better looking. So, but yeah, no, that's the history there. I get to see Adam Silver every single day at work. When I go to the lunchroom, he's there. Kamish. And he goes by the name Kamish with everybody. And most people don't even know why you call him Kamish. They just call him.
Doesn't matter. That's when that's when you know it's a good nickname. Is when half the people who use a nickname have no idea where it started. That's when you know you're having fun with the nickname. So.
Yeah, and then you show them, they're like, "Holy shit, he does look like him." I'll have to bring a comparison picture. I'm gonna get his blessing next time I see him.
Yeah, get your
picture on the airport.
Bill, let's meet the guy.
Yeah, let's bring him out. He's the best, man. He's got the heaviest accent ever, and he always goes nuts about me calling him Kamish. He'd be fantastic for this. He would destroy us in 2 seconds.
We really need to start doing a segment where we just call random people in our lives.
We have to. We need
something like that. We need something super where we can just get total strangers, or not strangers, but like people from our.
We could.
You know,
there could be a strange. No, but there could be a stranger segment where
get
someone
people on here to tell
something.
some high school stories or something like that. That'd be perfect.
Or we get someone to come on here and call someone from their past. That'd be pretty cool too.
Yeah. Actually, have you seen? Do you know who Nathan Fielder is?
No.
The show Nathan For You.
Maybe.
Has anybody seen this show?
No.
Nathan For You is one of the funniest TV shows I've ever seen. It's this guy. He's from Mississauga, Phil. He went to U of T, and he basically does these things. It's hard to explain, but he basically tries to help businesses. It's like a reality show, but he goes to businesses and gives them like really weird ideas to help them transform their business, and it's super awkward and funny. But he has a new show called The Rehearsal, where people who are trying to do this thing in their life that they haven't been able to get through it, and he helps them get through it. Like, so for example, there's this one guy who plays with a trivia team every week, and he for a long time has been perpetuating this lie that he has a master's degree. So then Nathan is going to help him come out to his trivia team and tell them that he doesn't have a master's degree. And the way he does this is he makes this guy practice telling them like 100 times, and he builds a replica of the bar where he's going to invite those people to tell them that he doesn't have a master's degree, and finds actors who look like them to pretend to be them. It's brilliant.
I love
show.
that.
Super
it's like
weird
Joe
and
Schmo
awkward.
type of shit.
It's exactly like that. It's so strange.
Anyways,
I don't know why that reminded me of that, but that's a fantastic show. That or Nathan For You, both of his shows are just so funny, but they're like kind of cringy awkward. But it's really good. Anyways, Phil D, I'll be away in the next 2 weeks. Have a good time with Chamber Wrecked. Very excited to see the results of that show. And I'll see you late July back on the First Mint.
See ya.
Do I play the song now usually at the end? What do I do at the end?
I don't know.
End broadcast?
Yes.
No, I don't usually play the song.
No, you don't.
I just end it.
Live shows, we do the song.
At the end. Okay.